President Podol presents policy and program, announces zero tolerance on corruption and wide-ranging economic reforms. Government approves annual policy and program ahead of presidential address to joint session of Parliament. Iran demands end to regional war and release of frozen assets in response to U.S. proposal as Trump rejects offer as totally unacceptable. Beijing confirms U.S. President Donald Trump's China visit later this week, signals willingness for greater global stability. 2 repatriated cruise passengers test positive after deadly hantavirus outbreak on MV Hondius docked in Spain. And countdown begins to 2026 FIFA World Cup amid backlash over soaring ticket prices and remaining seat availability. Good evening, I am April Singh Lama and this is NTV World Primetime News. We're coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere, it's 13:15 in London, 22:15 in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. The details now. President Ramchandra Podol has presented the government's policy and program for fiscal year 2026-27, announcing a zero-tolerance policy on corruption. Addressing a joint session of the federal parliament, he said the government will prepare a constitutional amendment discussion paper in consensus with political parties and ensure recovery of savings through stronger loan recovery mechanisms. The president also announced measures to curb excessive interest rates and end exploitative lending practices, along with plans to merge and restructure public enterprises based on necessity and service classification. He said efforts will be intensified to reduce the trade deficit and expand investment while lowering investment risks. Other key priorities include a women entrepreneurship development strategy, action against illegal extraction of natural resources, and improving international airport services by reducing passenger waiting times. The policy also aims to boost international flights from Gautam Buddha and Pokhara airports through diplomatic efforts, promote religious tourism, and develop Nepal as an adventure tourism destination. Now, the program further includes integrating social security and employment systems, strengthening relations between government, employers and workers, and making foreign employment safer. The House of Representatives today received the draft of the parliamentary regulations during a session of Nepal's federal parliament. The report was presented by Ganesh Parajuli, coordinator of the 15-member drafting committee formed on 6th of April to prepare the proposed regulations framework for the lower house. During the meeting, lawmakers were also informed about changes in ministerial responsibilities through a notice issued by the Office of the President. Speaker Orial additionally announced the nomination of 7 members to chair House meetings in the Speaker's absence. Meanwhile, the House also approved the removal of procedural obstructions under Rule 260 of the House of Representatives Regulations 2079. The approval endorses previous decisions made during the parliamentary recess regarding changes in the membership of various House committees. 8 different ordinances have been presented in today's meeting of the National Assemblies and House of Representatives, which had earlier been brought by the incumbent government. Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Sobita Gautam, on behalf of Prime Minister Balendra Shah, tabled the Public Procurement Second Amendment Ordinance 2083, the Ordinance on Special Provisions relating to the Removal of Public Officials 2083, and the Constitutional Council Functions, Duties, Powers and Procedures First Amendment 2083. In today's meeting of the House of Representatives HOR, the leaders of the opposition parties have called the government's attention to the management of landless quarters, settlements and other relevant issues, including ordinances. During the meeting, the leaders voiced their concerns regarding the ordinance, which was introduced while Parliament was suspended thus violating established practices and traditions based on the recommendation of the future Chief Justice. Lawmakers expressed their dissent against the government's decision to evict the landless residents from their settlement without providing alternative arrangements, while also sharing his differing views on the drafting of the new rules of the HOR. Now, they also criticized the government for its silence when India established a checkpoint in Lipu Lake and extended the route to Mansarovar. Moving on, leaders of political parties represented in Nepal's National Assembly have urged the government to ensure policies and decisions remain within the framework of the Constitution and existing laws while addressing public expectations. During today's session, lawmakers called for immediate control of inflation and a reversal of recent fuel price hikes, along with the announcement of a relief package for citizens. Parliamentary leaders also expressed mixed views on governance and legislative practices. Kamala Panta said her party supports positive government steps but stressed that no one is above the Constitution and law. Chakku Prasad Subedi urged the government to reflect public aspirations in the upcoming policy and budget. Meanwhile, Prem Prasad Dangao warned that excessive use of ordinances could weaken parliamentary dignity. Other leaders, including Mahanta Thakur and Tul Prasad Vishwakarma, raised concerns over constitutional issues, land list, settlement management, and recent government decisions. The Cabinet has approved the government's policy and program for the upcoming fiscal year. The decision was taken in today's Council of Ministers meeting ahead of its presentation in a joint session of Parliament. President Ramchandra Paudel presented the policy and program under Article 95 of the Constitution. Government spokesperson and Minister for Education, Science and Technology confirmed the approval, saying the address has been formally endorsed by the Cabinet.
आज नेपालको संविधानको धारा 95 मा बमोजिम सम्माननीय राष्ट्रपतिबाट सम्बद्ध 2083 साल वैशाख 28 गते आज 4 बजे संघीय संसदको दुवै सदनको संयुक्त बैठकलाई गर्नुहुने सम्बोधन स्वीकृत गर्ने मात्र निर्णय आज भएको छ.
The new session of both houses of the Federal Parliament also begins today. The Supreme Court has issued a short-term interim order preventing the immediate implementation of a decision to dissolve student organizations in universities. The order was issued by a single bench of Justice Srikant Paudel, directing that the decision made by the University Coordination Committee not be enforced for now. The court has also scheduled a hearing for 18th of May, calling both sides to present their arguments. It has instructed the concerned parties to submit written responses through the Attorney General's office within 15 days. The petition was filed by student leaders including Deepak Dhami, challenging the government's decision to dissolve student unions. In a separate but related development, the Supreme Court has also issued an interim order halting the dissolution of trade union organizations of employees. Time now for a short break. We shall be back with more updates. You're watching NTV World Primetime News. Welcome back. Now, discussions have been held between Constitutional Amendment Task Force, political leaders and experts on issues related to federalism and provincial structure. At an event organized by the Federalism and Localization Center, members of the government-appointed task force engaged in an interactive dialogue with party representatives and constitutional experts. Task Force member and Mohanlal Acharya said the draft amendment will be prepared after open consultations at all levels, suggesting possible changes to provincial structures, ministries and the electoral system. Leaders from major parties including the Nepali Congress, CPN-UML and CPN-Maoist Centre, along with provincial representatives, stressed the need for national consensus while debating the scope and direction of constitutional reform. Now, the government has launched a nationwide special campaign starting today aimed at controlling market irregularities, artificial price inflation and consumer fraud. The initiative, jointly led by the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers and the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Supplies, will run as Price Transparency Week, according to the Prime Minister's Secretariat. Authorities say the campaign is designed to address rising cost of living concerns affecting daily consumers. All stakeholders, civil society groups and media have been urged to support the drive and help monitor market abuses. Under the campaign, local levels will require businesses to display official price lists while regular inspection will be conducted. Central and provincial monitoring teams will also assess markets, deploy inspection units and take legal action against violators until the campaign concludes on 17th of May. The government has launched a nationwide Cleanliness Week 2083 campaign aimed at improving public service delivery through cleaner, more organized and environmentally friendly government offices. The initiative will continue until 15th of May across federal, provincial and local government institutions, including public educational facilities. Here's a report.
For many citizens in Nepal, visiting a government office often means navigating crowded hallways, unmanaged waste, unclear information desks, and limited public facilities. Now, the government says it wants to change that. A nationwide Cleanliness Week 2083 campaign has officially begun, with authorities promising cleaner, more organized, and environmentally friendly public institutions across the country. At Nepal's oldest hospital, Beer Hospital, brooms, waste bins and cleaning supplies marked the beginning of what the government calls a nationwide effort to improve the culture of public service. The campaign, titled Cleanliness Week 2083, officially began today and will continue until 15th May across government institutions throughout the country. Authorities say the initiative comes after long-standing concerns over poor sanitation standards and unmanaged waste inside public offices, conditions that have affected both service delivery and public health.
हरेक ठाउँमा सरसफाई चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ दिनचर्यामा लएर जानुपर्छ भनेर त्यो सोचले हामी चाहिँ हस्पिटल किनकि वीर हस्पिटल हाम्रो सबभन्दा पुरानो हस्पिटल हो त्यो सोचेर हामीले हस्पिटलबाटै सुरुवात गरौँ न किन कार्डियोबाट गर्ने हस्पिटलबाट सुरुवात गरौँ भनेर हामी त्यो सोचेर
Under a new government directive, federal ministers, provincial offices, local governments and even public educational institutions are now expected to follow common cleanliness and waste management standards. Government officers are now being instructed to maintain clear information boards, organized citizen charters, repaired infrastructure, and cleaner service areas. Public toilets are also expected to become more accessible with women-friendly sanitation facilities, sanitary disposal systems, and disability-friendly access wherever possible. Each office will also be required to separate biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste using at least 2 dustbins. And to ensure the campaign continues beyond a single week, every institution must appoint a dedicated cleanliness focal person. For many Nepalis, the success of the campaign may ultimately depend not on announcements, but on whether visible changes continue after the week-long drive ends. Still, officials say the initiative is intended as a long-term effort to improve public health, accountability, and the everyday experience of citizens seeking government services.
Now, in other news, the ruling Rashtriya Swatantra Party, RSP, has moved into active preparation for its first national convention following a secretariat meeting held yesterday. The party has decided to conduct ward and municipal conventions in 2 phases as part of the organizational build-up. According to party spokesperson Manish Jha, ward-level gatherings will begin from 16th of May for units without committees, while wards with formed committees will hold conventions on the 17th. Municipal conventions are scheduled for May 23 and 24, followed by district conventions on 6 and 7 June. While the exact date for the national convention is yet to be finalized, party leaders say preparations are underway to hold it in September, with central committee members automatically serving as delegates under party rules. Now, the National Examination Board is in the final stage of preparations to publish this year's Secondary Education Examination (SEE) results within the government's deadline of May 12th. Examination Controller Tukaraz Adhikari said the results could be released as early as Tuesday if no technical problems arise. The board has also issued guidelines on how students can check their results through SMS, USSD and official websites, including the SEE portal and the National Examination Board site. Authorities say the process has been expedited this year, with answer scripts evaluated within days of the exam's completion, aiming to deliver results faster than in previous years. Residents of Lumpabung and Nawamidada in Pachtar district of eastern Nepal are still facing severe water shortages as delays and flood damage have crippled a long-pending drinking water project. The Lumpabung Nawamidada drinking water project launched in 2018 with a provincial investment of 210 million Nepali rupees aimed to supply water from the local Nibu River to settlements located about 7 kilometers uphill. Although some households initially received limited supply, the project failed to become fully operational due to construction delays by the contractor Swaminarayan Ashish JV. The situation worsened after floods in September 2025 destroyed the water source structure, causing damages worth over 10 million Nepali rupees, according to officials. Locals say the repeated delays, natural disasters and failure to complete tap installations have left around 1,300 households struggling with daily water needs and disappointed over the previous hope for relief. Time again for a short break here. We will see you at the other side with international news. Do stay with us. Iran's foreign ministry said Tehran has called for an end to the war across the region and the release of frozen assets abroad in its response to the latest U.S. proposal. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baqei in a weekly press briefing said Iran's demands include an end to the war in the region, ending the U.S. naval blockade, and release of assets belonging to the Iranian people, which have for years been unjustly trapped in foreign banks.
تنها چیزی که مطالبه کردیم حقوق مشروع ایران بوده. من قضاوت رو به شما و مردممون واگذار میکنم که آیا مطالبه ایران برای خاتمه جنگ در منطقه، مطالبه ایران برای توقف راهزنی دریایی علیه کشتی‌های ایران، اونچه که تحت عنوان محاصره دریایی اسمش گذاشتند، مطالبه ایران برای آزاد شدن دارایی‌های متعلق به مردم ایران که سالهاست به ناحق به خاطر فشار آمریکا در بانک‌های خارجی محبوس شده، آیا اینها مطالبه زیاده‌خواهانه است؟ پیشنهاد ما برای این که در تنگه هرمز تردد ایمن صورت بگیره آیا مطالبه زیاده خواهانه است؟
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said he has rejected Iran's response to a U.S. proposal for ending the Middle East war, deeming it totally unacceptable. Now, India Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appealed to Indians to revive working from home, to cut down on petrol and diesel consumption, buy less gold and limit foreign travel to deal with a surge in global energy prices because of the continuing crises in the Middle East. Modi said the austerity measures reminiscent of the COVID era would reduce India's fuel use and help save foreign exchange. India imports 90% of its oil and its crude bill has seen a multi-billion-dollar spike since the US and Israel's war on Iran, with the Strait of Hormuz a narrow Gulf checkpoint shut for more than 2.5 months now. Modi's appeal, made at a public event in the southern city of Hyderabad on Sunday, is described as the most drastic so far. Moving on, Beijing has confirmed that U.S. President Donald Trump will travel to China this week for high-level talks with President Xi Jinping in a visit seen as a crucial test of fragile U.S.-China relations. The three-day trip from May 13 to 15 will be the first by a U.S. president to China in nearly a decade and comes amid ongoing tensions over tariffs and trade policy. Now, China's foreign ministry says it is ready to work with Washington to promote more stability globally. Spokesperson Guo Jiakun said Beijing is willing to engage with the United States based on equality, respect and mutual benefit to expand cooperation in an increasingly volatile world.
元首外交对中美关系具有不可替代的战略引领作用，中方愿同美方一道，秉持平等、尊重、互惠的精神，扩大合作，管控分歧，为变乱交织的世界注入更多的稳定性和确定性。
Executives from major corporations including the Boeing, Citigroup and Qualcomm are expected to accompany the delegation as both sides explore potential business deals and efforts to stabilize ties. The visit follows a turbulent period marked by sweeping U.S. tariffs and a trade war that previously saw duties exceed 100% before a pause after last year's leaders' meeting in South Korea. Now, more from the international front and sports news coming up after this short break. Health authorities say an American and a French national who returned home after leaving the cruise ship MV Hondius have tested positive for hantavirus following a deadly outbreak on board. The vessel, currently docked in Spain's Canary Islands, has been linked to 3 deaths, including a Dutch couple and a German woman. French Health Minister Stéphanie Rist confirmed that a female patient in Paris is isolating as her condition worsens, with 22 contacts traced. More than 90 passengers are being repatriated as investigations continue into the source of the infection, with the World Health Organization suggesting possible exposure in South America. Argentina's southmost city, Ushuaia, known as the end of the world and a gateway to Antarctica, is under scrutiny amid suggestions it could be linked to a hantavirus outbreak on the cruise vessel MV Hondius. Some reports indicate a passenger may have been infected near a landfill site on the outskirts of the city, an area frequently by birds and attracting rodents. Local authorities have not confirmed the theory and say it has not been well received in the region. While inquiries from international operators have increased, no cruise cancellations have been reported so far, though officials say any long-term impact may take months to assess. Now, former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been released early from prison, sparking speculation over a possible return to the political spotlight. The 76-year-old telecoms billionaire and had been serving a one-year sentence for corruption since September and will now undergo a 4-month probation period with an electronic monitoring device. Thaksin also faces other pending legal cases which could limit his public activity. His return comes as his family's political influence has weakened following a poor election result for the Pheu Thai party, raising questions about the future of one of Thailand's most influential political dynasties. An innovative climate risk insurance program in India is helping informal workers safeguard their incomes as extreme heat disrupts economic activity across the country. Under the scheme, payouts are automatically triggered when temperatures cross a set threshold, allowing outdoor workers to pause work without financial loss. The initiative reflects a growing push by insurers and financial institutions to develop climate adaptation products as heat waves increasingly affect productivity, supply chains, and labor availability. It is also being seen as a potential growth area for insurance markets across climate-sensitive regions in Asia. Those were the international updates. Now time for sports. Nepal A have registered a thrilling 7-run win over the United States in a closely contested one-day match at Mulpani Cricket Ground in Kathmandu. Batting first after losing the toss, Nepal A posted 264 all out in 49.5 overs. Powered by a century from Sandeep Zora, who scored 111 off 115 balls. Bashir Ahmed added a steady 38 to support the innings. In reply, the United States fell short, managing 257 all out in 49.1 overs despite 71 from Shena Jayasuriya. Nepal A's bowlers held their nerve in the final overs, with Sher Molla taking 4 for 30 and Bashir Ahmed picking up 3 wickets to seal the win. Barcelona have secured the 29th Spanish league title after a 2-0 victory over Real Madrid in El Clasico. Goals from Marcus Rashford and Ferran Torres in the first half sealed the win, giving Hansi Flick's side an unassessable lead at the top of La Liga with 3 matches remaining. The result leaves Real Madrid without a trophy this season. It also marks a historic first, with the El Clasico deciding the league title for the first time in nearly a century. Now, the 1-month countdown has begun for the 23rd edition of the FIFA World Cup, set to be co-hosted for the first time by the United States, Canada and Mexico. The tournament kicks off on June 11 at Mexico City's Estadio Aztec, with the final scheduled for July 19 at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. A record 48 teams will compete across the nearly 6-week event. However, excitement is being tempered by growing criticism over sharply rising price tickets, with some premium seats reportedly coaching tens of thousands of dollars. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has dismissed concerns, calling critical coverage negative press, even as secondary markets continue to show availability for several matches. And before we wrap up, here's a reminder of our top stories. President Paudel presents policy and program, announces zero tolerance on corruption and wide-ranging economic reforms. Government approves annual policy and program ahead of presidential address to joint session of the parliament. Iran demands end to regional war and release of frozen assets in response to U.S. proposal, as Trump rejects offer as totally unacceptable. Beijing confirms US President Donald Trump's China visit later this week, signals willingness for greater global stability. 2 repatriated cruise passengers test positive after deadly hantavirus outbreak on MV Hondias docked in Spain. And countdown begins to 2026 FIFA World Cup amid backlash over soaring ticket prices and remaining seat availability. That's it for this edition of Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. To join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries.
Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices. Where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Welcome to the new episode of The Hinterlands on NTV World. This weekly show brings together stories from the hinterlands of Nepal, takes you beyond the cities and highways into the heart of Nepal's rural landscapes. I am Rosina Rai and we will be leading you into this journey every week. We begin in Bhaktapur, where displacement caused by encroachment demolitions under the Nepal government has deeply affected children both psychologically and physically. School-going children from displaced families are currently studying while living in temporary shelters provided by the authorities, which are said to be safe. However, uncertainty continues to loom large as many children are struggling with an unstable future ahead. More in this report. The displacement caused by the demolitions has had serious psychological and physical impacts, especially on children. School-going children from displaced families are now learning in temporary shelters provided by the authorities, which are claimed to be safer for them. Their eyes reflect skepticism as they face an uncertain future. To help reduce the psychological trauma caused by the demolition of their homes and subsequent displacement, the government has introduced counseling alongside education. Through sports, art, and basic learning activities, efforts are being made to help them return to normal life. Children are attending informal classes within these temporary facilities. The authorities are also working to ensure that children's education is not disrupted by arranging alternative learning spaces and helping them maintain a sense of normal daily routine. Although these temporary learning arrangements provide some relief, integrating these children into the mainstream education system remains a major challenge. From the struggles faced by the displaced children, we now move to Nisti Rural Municipality in Western Palpa district, where child marriage once severely affected the education and the future of hundreds of students. In a remarkable achievement now, the municipality has reduced child marriage cases from 276 to just 7 over the past 3 years. The coordinated efforts of the local government, schools, and the community members to eliminate this harmful social practice have been widely praised. Nisti Rural Municipality in Palpa district of Western Nepal has made significant progress in controlling child marriage in recent years. This municipality is predominantly inhabited by the Magar community, where child marriage among school-going children was once a common practice. However, over the past 3 years, early child marriage has steadily declined due to the collective efforts of the local government, community members, and other stakeholders. Remarkably, the number of child marriages has dropped dramatically from 276 cases in 2017 and Bikram Sambat to just 7 at current time.
पहिलेको बाल विवाहको अवस्था भन्दा अहिले 70% चाहिँ सुधार भएर भनेको त्यो किसिमले चाहिँ घट्दो क्रममा बाल विवाहको अवस्था छ। यसरी हाम्रो निस्ती गाउँपालिकामा चाहिँ यो बाल मैत्री स्थानीय शासन कार्यान्वयन भए पश्चात चाहिँ बाल विवाहमा र अथवा बालिकासँग सम्बन्धित विभिन्न सुधारका चाहिँ अवस्थाहरू देखिएको पाइन्छ।
Goal of becoming a child-friendly municipality, Nisti has been actively conducting awareness programs since 2023 at both the community and the school levels. The chairperson of the rural municipality, Mukta Bahadur Saru, stated that there are plans to declare the municipality child marriage-free and child-friendly by 2026. These initiatives include children's affairs, wall magazines, songs, dances, and street dramas aimed at raising awareness.
हामीले चाहिँ आज मिनी बाल मेलाको चाहिँ अवसरमा चाहिँ यहाँ सडक नाटक कथा कविताहरू चाहिँ प्रदर्शन गरिरहेका छौं र हामीले हाम्रो गाउँ समुदायमा चाहिँ सिकाइरहेका छौं। यस्ता क्रियाकलापहरूले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ समाजमा एकदमै राम्रो प्रभाव ल्याइरहेको छ।
Also, the municipality has prioritized the campaign against child marriage and has been implementing various programs over the past 4 years. Nepal's centuries-old Sanskrit Gurukul education system in Far Sangza district is embracing change through modern technology and practical teaching methods. Ramnadi Dham Gurukul in Sangza district has been blending traditional learning with yoga, meditation and modern academic subjects, attracting students from various provinces across the country. Suviksha Rajak and Himal Nepali brings us this report ahead.
Centuries-old Sanskrit Gurukul system in Nepal is undergoing a remarkable transformation. Traditionally, Gurukul education was confined to rituals and theoretical learning of Sanskrit. But at the Ramnadi Dham Sanskrit Gurukul in Sangza, located on the scenic banks of Kali Gandaki River, students are now experiencing a blend of tradition and modernity. Established 6 years ago, the institution has introduced compulsory yoga, meditation, and practical learning from grades 6 to 12, aiming to foster positive mental energy and holistic development. Students dressed in monk-like attire attend classes not only indoors but also outdoors along the river banks, where they say the fresh air enhances concentration.
हामी चाहिँ बिहान र बेलुकाको समयमा भावगीत ध्यान चाहिँ यही गंगाको तीरमा आएर नि गर्छौं र यसले हाम्रो मानसिक तथा शारीरिक ऊर्जा प्रदान गर्छ र हाम्रो यो शैक्षिक कार्यहरुमा चाहिँ यसले महत्त्वपूर्ण योगदान गरेको छ.
Alongside Sanskrit, Vedas and philosophy, subjects such as English, mathematics and science are taught with free residential facilities provided. After completing grade 12, students can pursue higher education in faculties of their choice. Currently, Sangza hosts 3 such religious schools with Ramnadi Dham accommodating 127 students. Its unique approach has attracted learners not only from Sangza but also from Palpa, Parbat, Rupandehi, Kapilvastu, Navalparasi and Chitwan, making it a growing hub of innovation.
गुरुकुलमा एउटा संस्कृतको श्लोक मात्रै पढाएर अर्थ मात्रै पढाएर भन्दा पनि उनीहरुलाई चाहिँ अहिलेको आवश्यकता अनि उनीहरुलाई त्यो प्र्याक्टिकलमा पनि गराउन आवश्यक भएकोले हामीले त्यो संस्कृतको श्लोक मात्रै नपढाएर उनीहरुलाई चाहिँ योग, ध्यान अनि सिद्धिको बारेमा चाहिँ हामीले उनीहरुलाई चाहिँ यहाँ पनि प्र्याक्टिकलको रूपमा गराउँदा पनि हामीले अझै यसमा चाहिँ
This integration of modern technology and practical methods into the Gurukul model is redefining education, ensuring that students receive both spiritual grounding and academic advancement.
We now add to a sweetness of this episode of The Hinterlands with the story of wild honey hunting. In northern Dhading of central Nepal, honey hunting is increasingly emerging as a major source of income for local communities there. Driven by rising demand and high market prices, many locals are turning this risky cliff-based practice into a profession. Vijeta Bhandari has more in this report.
Wild honey hunting in northern Dhading of central Nepal is increasingly becoming a source of income as rising demand and high prices push locals to turn the traditional practice into a profession. In Ganga Jamuna and Khanyabas rural municipalities of the district, residents collect wild honey twice a year, from mid-October to mid-December and again from mid-April to mid-June, scaling steep cliffs and venturing into remote forests in groups. The honey produced by the cliff bees in Nepal is also often referred to as mad honey, a rare type produced by the Himalayan bees that feed on rhododendron flowers. It is valued in small quantities for its medicinal properties, which has driven strong demand in niche markets and invited much international interest. While collecting the honey was once observed as a seasonal festival in Dhading, it is now seen more as a lucrative money-making activity. Youths form groups to go to remote areas of the jungle and cliffs to collect the honey. They use local resources and means and partake in this highly risky job of honey collection. The reward seems well worth the risk, however, as the cliff bee honey sells for around 3,000 Nepali rupees per kilogram in local markets, making it a lucrative activity in a region with limited economic opportunities.
एउटै मौरीले अनुकूल सिजन मिल्यो भने यसको चाहिँ 8-10 केजी एउटै मौरीबाट निकाल्दो रहेछ। यसपालि पोहोर साल 13 वटा आएको थियो। त्यो 13 वटामा धेरै खोस्टाहरू थियो, पुरानो खोस्टा। त्यो पुरानो खोस्टा फालिसकेपछि यसपालि 28-29 वटा आइसकेको अवस्था रहेछ। त्यसपछि हामीले यसलाई अहिले काट्ने क्रम जारी छ।
Locals say the income has encouraged more people to take part, with the collected honey shared among the group members and then sold in the market. The practice, deeply rooted in local culture, is now evolving into a livelihood strategy. The activity is also beginning to attract attention as a potential tourism draw, with visitors drawn to both the dramatic cliff harvesting process and the uniqueness of the product. Community members believe that promoting wild honey hunting as a managed festival or attraction could support tourism and boost the local economy.
Before we end, we bring you a special story from Gulmi in Western Nepal, where local communities are working to preserve the ancient cultural tradition of Khatu Naच. Traditionally performed by the Magar and Gurung communities, the dance formally begins with a ritual worship during Baisak Purnima. To preserve and promote this endangered cultural heritage, locals have been organizing regular practice sessions and performances on various occasions. Let's take a look at this beautiful classical dance performed to rhythmic traditional beats. In the Bhangari area of Western Nepal, Gulmi, locals have been organizing practice sessions and performances of Khatu Nac, Khatu dance on various occasions. The sessions attract the younger generation to participate. This classical dance is performed to the rhythmic beats of the madal, a traditional drum accompanied by traditional songs. It is believed that during performances, young girls may become possessed by deities and sometimes even they lose their consciousness. Locals believe that young dancers with bodily wounds or those who have been bitten by snake or dog are not possessed by the Khatu spirits. The Khatu Nac, primarily performed by the Magar and Gurung communities, was popular in Western Nepal, including Gulmi, Sangja, Lomjung and Kaski. Its popularity has, however, been gradually diminishing. Recognizing its cultural significance, the local government authorities in Gulmi district began taking steps to preserve and promote this tradition for the future generations. Stakeholders say the active participation of the community members in promoting and preserving the dance is highly commendable.
यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले देश विदेशमा पुर्याउनलाई हामी अनवरत रूपमा लागि परेका छौं। यसको चाहिँ अहिले बल्ल महत्त्व बुझ्नेहरू बल्ल यसको चाहिँ घाटु नाचको अलिकति जानकार लिनेहरूलाई हामीले प्रचार प्रसारद्वारा नै आकर्षण गरेका छौं।
The Khatu dance revolves around themes such as marriage, love, lifestyle, and hunting stories of the medieval king Parshuram and Queen Yomaudi. This dance is highly expressive, portraying different aspects of life such as birth, duties, animal husbandry, agriculture, and more. During the performance, the invocation and release of deities in the dancers are carried out through songs. The dance is especially performed on special occasions such as the full moon day during the Nepali month Baisak and Sri Panchami, often celebrated in a grand manner. Beyond the cities and the headlines, real lives continue to unfold. Stories shaped by struggle, strengthened by resilience, and carried forward by the hope. This is the Hinterlands, and we will be back next week with more stories from the heart of Nepal. Do follow us on our website, nepaltelevision.com, social media handles, and our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye for now.
The gorgeous temple of Changu Narayan holds greater significance among the 4 Narayan temples located in different cardinal points of Kathmandu Valley. It is situated on a magnificent hilltop about 16 kilometers northeast of Kathmandu in the Bhaktapur district. Changu Narayan is known for its majestic temple complex, full of magnificent artworks in stone, metal, and wood. As an important heritage site of archaeological and cultural importance, with a history of nearly 1700 years, Changu Narayan was designated as UNESCO World Heritage Site in October 1979. By then, it also received the attention of international observers abroad. One of the first substantial epigraphic evidences of Nepalese history was found in the temple premises consecrated by Lichavi King Mandev, dating back to 464 AD. It shows that Changu Narayan was already developed as an important sacred place long before his time. There are various myths and legends regarding the origin of Changu Narayan. As detailed in the Vansavalis, Changu had already been established as a sacred site around 3rd century AD. The Ichangu inscription of Vijaya Kamdev, dated 1199 AD, informs that the temple was built by the king Haridatta Varma, happened to be 9th generations before Mandev. The time of Haridatta Varma is estimated as early as 325 AD. During Lichevi period, Chango Narayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Chango inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Chango Narayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple is of basic Nepalese design with possible emphasis given to masterful ornamentation. The temple may have passed through series of restoration. The present structure was probably constructed in the 17th century. Chango Narayan is regarded as one of the masterpieces of Nepalese temple architecture. The older elements have been incorporated during the restorations.
Nepal is lucky. It's got Dharmendra and Amitabh Bachchan, except one. You're two in one. Two superstars in one superstar.
But nonetheless, thank you. Thank you so much. But then tell us more about Sholay.
Once again, Nepali cinema making history on the 9th edition of NIF, Nepal International Film Festival, here on NTV Board with the collaboration NTV World. We just don't have two personalities on a talk show. We have two legends. One is Mr. Rajesh Hamal, the superstar of Nepali cinema film industry, and the other one who is the blockbuster director, none other than Mr. Rajesh Hamal and Mr. Ramesh Sippi. We are having them here on this Creative Forum talk only on NTV World.
Mr. Ramesh Sippi ji, good afternoon.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, and welcome. Welcome to Kathmandu.
Thank you.
Is this your first time?
No, this is my third trip.
A third trip. Yeah, it's an absolutely pleasure. Welcome to Nepal once again, you know. Unfortunately, we're meeting at a very tumultuous time. You know, the world is going through. You know, there are hell-bent on destruction and domination, you know. I think the onus lies on the creative people, you know, to spread their good words about collaboration, humanity, human emotions, human value, just to offset the balance.
Absolutely agreed.
Right. And I think we should speak up and then
We
spread
should
our
try, yes.
narration through our arts, through our...
Yeah, because you have a voice, you have people listening.
Right.
And you have that command. So whatever you say, it will carry some weight.
Whatever you say will also carry a lot of weight. I haven't met you before, but I, of course, know of you. You have a very illustrious career, illustrious film life that you have spent, and not only you, your father as well. Could you tell us a little bit about you? I mean, most of us know of you pretty well, but nevertheless, can you tell us, like, where you were born, how did it start, and how did your family got into films?
I was born in 1944 in Karachi. And
so before the partition?
Yes. And about 1947, we moved here immediately after the partition. I mean, I was only 3 years old, so my memory is not very sharp on that. But yes, we started out here. My father went into the construction business, buildings.
In Mumbai?
In Mumbai. And it was a very strange time because when he advertised a building and a flat, at that time, you were either a landlord or a tenant. So there was no purchase as such. Purchase in a small way. A big bungalow or the thing belongs to one person, yes. Otherwise, because the people would come there and they would say, this wall, this side is mine, and that side, somebody else. Okay. So it was a very strange way, but he started selling. Then 1951, he made a film called Saza. My father.
Your father did. His good name was G.P. Shippy.
That's right.
Right. He's a very prominent filmmaker as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Devanand, Nimmi, and Shyama. So with these three, he made a film. Because of his construction thing, he kept meeting people from the film line who wanted to buy. Raj Kapoor would come.
How did you decide to get into making films from construction? Because those are completely poles apart.
Because he was selling.
He was making money.
People were making people were coming there to take the. So then that's how he got.
Oh, he started off as an investor.
Yes, as investors they came in, and that's how he got into it. Well, after that, I was lucky that he was already in, and I worked for about 8 years from 61 to 69. I was just working on the sets in every department possible. And then in 69, I launched my own film, Andaz.
You didn't do anything else in life before that?
No. I went to London in 61 to do something, to maybe commerce, the college there, but I couldn't get into it. My heart and mind was there, so I rang up my father and I said, can I come back? He did not take even 1 second. He said, sure, if you're not happy, come back. That was...
And the first film that you made, was it because you had the passion for filmmaking, or it was like a family business kind of thing?
Not at all. It was absolutely my passion. Because everybody said, why are you making a film like this? A widow and a widower? You shouldn't make this kind of film here. It may be a nice film, but people won't like it. So
Andaz, I remember, was very well received, especially that song on a motorcycle.
That's right. Zindagi Ek Safar Hai.
Yeah, that motorcycle. I mean, I couldn't sing to save my life.
Yeah, two iconic ones, because that was the theme of the film. Hai na bolo bolo, papa ko mummy se, mummy ko papa se pyar hai. They were both without a partner, and that's how they come together.
So how did that come about? I mean, it was the storyline was a little bit anomaly for its time, and did you come up with this idea yourself? Are you also the writer of your own films, or?
Well, you see films, you're inspired, but there's no direct connection. But just felt that we've seen plenty of films, the normal. Why not try something which is a little different? And that was the reason I said, yes, let's do that. Luckily, it worked. But I'll tell you, in the smaller towns, it was still not accepted.
Oh, because of the storyline.
That storyline. And that told me, listen a bit. So you've got to listen to what people say also. But you've got to take a step forward.
But yeah, so those days, the filmmaker had to be extremely conscious about the social values and things like that, and what they would accept, what they would not accept.
True.
Including how you dress especially the leading actresses and all that.
Yes.
So that was your first film, Andaz?
That's
right. And that was made in
69. It was released in 1971.
Okay. And then the ball started rolling after that?
Went on to make Sita or Gita. Again,
that was a kind of a maverick work as well. No?
Yes.
Sita or Gita, double role.
Yes.
Were you fascinated with Hema Malini from day one, or?
Well, she was.
Or did you have a good rapport with her?
Yes,
or?
yes. She was very, very lovely. Very, but she was when we were dubbing for Andaz post production, and I said, "Would you like to play this double role on the mic?" I was telling her. She was inside, and
on the set of Andaz.
She was dubbing for the end of the film.
So you're offering her another project?
Yes, on the mic. She said, "What? You think I can do it?" I said, "Yes, if you put your heart into it, we can do it." And that's how Sita or Gita came about. Yes, I was very fortunate to have Salim Javed with me. Absolutely brilliant writers. And we moved on. And again, Sholay was a two-line idea. It's all at that time it was an army officer and two cadets, and they were mischievous guys, and so he calls them later in life to help for him for his personal revenge. We just converted into police, that's all.
And you did all this at a relatively young age, didn't you? Like you were like in your mid-20s, or?
I was 25 and I started Andaz. Then in Sita or Gita, I was 27, 28. Then 29, I started Sholay.
Sholay, you started at 29.
And finished in 31. The film was released.
Now that you've mentioned Sholay, you and Sholay are so synonymous, you know, like everybody, when they think about Sholay, they think about you. When they think about you, they think about Sholay. How did that, for its time, it was larger than life. Those days, mostly cinema used to be made in CinemaScope and 35mm, and you went into 70mm. And the storyline was slightly, different as well from your normal Hindi film storyline. And what I can tell by looking at Sholay is maybe there's an element of a Western movie influence in there.
You're absolutely right.
But you gave such an Indian flavor to it that the Indian audience totally lapped it up.
I was always fascinated by the way the Western films were made, and those
you used to watch a lot of Clint Eastwood films?
Yes, first the Clint Eastwood films, then the films like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And all these Westerns gave a wonderful kind of feel at that time. And so it was not easy to adapt to Indian, the Western, but because we had our dacoits and they operated in the Chambal Valley.
They could be the baddies, yeah.
And I guess circumstances took them to that point.
But the way you presented the film and the storyline was so amazing and so different from the kind of films that were being made in that era. You know, like the most prominent thing that I would say of Sholay was that you brought every character to life. When people think of Sholay, they definitely think of you as well, but they think of not just the protagonists, they think of all the characters, from Kalia to Mosti to even the horse, the Basanti. They remember everything. So you brought so much of life to each and every character, whether they were doing the leading role or the side role, but everybody had a prominence present in that film. How did you manage that?
From the idea we began with, it turned out to be a very good script. And with that script, while scripting, had a lot of these actors in mind. And very fortunately, all of them agreed to come in. It's very difficult for such a big, so many different actors to come in, big actors. Otherwise, they'll worry what will happen.
Was Amitabh Bachchan ji relatively new during that time, or was he?
He had just started to come up. His film Zanjeer was released after he signed with us for Sholay.
So you got him cheap.
I made up for it in the next film. He said, okay, you got me cheap there, now what are you going to give me here? Okay, so much. Nepal is lucky. It's got Dharmendra and Amitabh Bachchan both in one. You're two in one. Two superstars in one superstar.
But nevertheless, thank you. Thank you so much. But then tell us more about Sholay. How did you do the characterization? How did you come up with the story line?
As I said, I was very lucky to have Salim Javed, who came to me towards the end of the making of Andaz. Halfway through, they joined me, and then Sita aur Geeta they wrote Sita aur Geeta. And then, as far as Sholay was concerned, we worked on the script. They had an idea, one-line idea.
Oh, they had it themselves?
Yes, okay. And it was with somebody else who didn't want to make it. Manmohan Desai, I think. He said, this is not my kind of film. So he passed it, passed by, gave a pass to it. So you could take it, and they narrated these two lines. An army officer with two cadets, and he calls them for his. So I think I was lucky that I had these two wonderful writers with me, and we were able to bring together a script which had all these elements in it. And all of us are always inspired by good cinema.
When they were writing, did you tell them that you wanted a Western kind of style to it?
Yes, absolutely.
You told them that?
Yes, yes.
Did you give them any references? Or?
Yes, all these that I told you about, Butch Cassidy, like these two are like the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, and one of them dies at the end, if you remember Butch Cassidy also.
That was Paul Newman and Robert.
That's right, that's right. So that's how it developed, and it developed well, and all the pieces started falling together, the actors coming in. And then, as I said, I was very keen that I go to a different location. My art director took me down south, and near Bangalore, about 50 kilometers away from Bangalore, was this, all these rocks. The moment I saw them, I said, this is it. The den would be here, and the village would be just close by somewhere, and this is where it could all take place. And then we built a village there.
So how long did the homework take place?
The idea and the thought coming, and we got everyone together, And by the coincidentally, the film started on the 2nd of October, 73 October 2nd.
And then you had such prominent actors in that film. How difficult was it to coordinate them? I mean, how does it work in Indian cinema when you have so many prominent actors and actresses in your set? How does the coordination work? Is it a difficult task?
I think because there were well-defined roles, so there was no real fear that everyone knew, because if you remember the climax of Sholay, one thing leads to the other, and each actor gets to play his part in such a way that if Dharamji, when he moves away for a short while and Amitabh takes the bullets. So he dies, and then he vows vengeance, and he drives, and he does the climax of killing all of them, right down to when Sanjeev Kumar comes and says, no, this is mine. Gabbar is mine. You leave Gabbar to me, because that was why I called you for this. So it all fell in such a way that everyone had his piece, and everyone was satisfied with what he was doing.
They all felt justified. I mean, no doubt, as a maker, you were a maverick when you were making Sholay, but over the years, how does it feel? I mean, if I may ask you this, that people usually remember the performance and the performers more than the maker and the director. Do you see a quiet injustice in there? Like, when you talk about Sholay, they remember Gabbar Singh, maybe Viru, and what's the other guy's name? Jay and Viru and Hema Malini and this.
Surma Bhopali and...
and over the line, somehow the maker gets sort of like, shattered. Do you see a kind of a quiet injustice in there as a maker?
Well, yes and no, because yes, the credit, but it's very natural as far as an audience is concerned to identify with the actor, because that's who the story is being told through. So they become real life, and they become the real characters. So for them, that is the first thing that hits them. The people behind the scene, yes, okay, but there have been chaos of Mughal-e-Azam and one film, and he's remembered as a... And of course, Mehboob Khan, which is Mother India, and so there are a few.
You have left, no doubt, an indelible mark in the cinema. You will always be remembered. But I was just taking this out because most of the time when you have big stars and the movie is successful, they remember it as the star's film rather than the maker's film.
True.
Whereas initially, the project is the maker's baby, actually. That's where it starts.
I want to make a wonderful film, and if you stand out as an actor, but it's the same thing. We want it to work. We want the people to like it. So I think.
But Sholay, I believe, was not, initially it was sort of like received very lukewarm, like it didn't have a great response.
Again, unfortunately, I have to defer. There was no such thing.
Oh, there wasn't?
No. Headlined disaster. Every week. Disaster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 5 weeks they hammered that this kind of a film, no way. And because they'd already given it once, taking it back was not easy. But finally, in the 6th week, they admitted that yes, it's a big hit. And there is no such thing that, because in the 2nd and 3rd week, people were repeating the dialogues. Right. So in the theater, we knew this is a repeat audience. A repeat audience doesn't come if they haven't liked it the first time. They're not going to come a second time. So that's...
But do you remember around that time, the same time, there was another film that was released with very little budget but did extremely well. I think it was Jai Santosima or...
Yes, on the very same day.
Yeah. So what was your reaction to that film? I mean, here you are with a multi-star, with a great budget, larger-than-life presentation film. And there's another film which is low budget and, just comes out and it...
As a matter of fact...
And comes out with a bang.
When the trade papers spoke like this about Sholay, they also mentioned that, look at this film, Jai Santoshima. At this budget, it's a blockbuster. And Sholay was demoted. But then, of course, they...
Yeah, but Sholay, of course, lasted much longer and it's become a history and it becomes a milestone of Indian cinema. Rameshji, can you, you've experienced so many periods and so many phases in Indian cinema. You've come a long way. How do you see cinema of today, especially the Hindi cinema scenario of today? How do you look at them?
I think the best way to look at it is today's audiences and their educational levels and their exposure to the world is quite different. So we are seeing a change, but at the same time, we have to remember that we are competing with ourselves on television, on OTT, on all these are a part of the audiovisual entertainment. And yet, a lot of people might say today, I would rather sit at home and watch it where it comes on OTT.
So what do you think about the modern technology of filmmaking? I mean, do you take it as a progressive change or?
Yes, any technology improvements that help and aid a filmmaker should be welcomed. Now, do they take away from you as a maker? I think they're meant to enhance your work. I think anything you think of and you want to do special effects, it's only going to help what your vision is. If it is taken in that light, and you do not make the mistake of letting it take over the storytelling or the thrust of the film and the emotions of the film, you don't allow these to be taking over that, then you're okay. You've got to create that balance.
Director used to be almost 95% in charge of the project. How you're going to film it, how he's going to frame it, how he's going to present it. But now the directors have to work in coordination with so many different technical departments and engineers and special effect people that the share of the director is just limited to maybe just an imagination or the concept of how he wants to do it and the other people put it together.
But I think, as I said, sensibility prevails, that you try to create that balance between technology and the real thing. And the actors today, if they find there is a good maker, I'm sure you as an actor would be happy to have a good director with you. He can only help and guide a little more. You're going to ultimately take, as you yourself said, he gets the maximum appreciation goes to the actor. So it's as a maker, you just have to make that compromise in your mind that it is a medium. You can do a lot with it, with all these new technology things. Take it in the positive way and use it to help you. Now, if you have a crowd of horses coming in, and you have 4 horses you use who are good, and you add to those horses, it'll like a herd of
104 horses.
That's it. So the advantage is there if you use it correctly. And if you unnecessarily use technology, you're going to...
If you had the advantage of using this technology while making Sholay, would Sholay would have been any different?
A damn good question, and I don't have an answer.
No, but it's done. It's printed. It's a history, and it's a hallmark. Like, you represent Hindi cinema, and most of the Hindi cinemas are like star-driven, and they're the main attractions, and the unique selling point of a film actually becomes the stars and all that. How important is it, in your view, that does an actor like transform himself or herself completely into a character, or does the actor bring his own essence to every role? Does the part of the actor has to be alive in every role, especially the star-driven, or they can succumb themselves totally into a character?
I think mostly they can. I think a very, very particular character which calls for a change of image, the actor is excited about playing something entirely different, and the director feels that this is an actor who can, because he's such a good actor, he'll be able to deliver in this kind of a role. Then they work together to change that image which was existent before that. But most of the time, it's the image.
I mean, you sort of played in abundance in terms of, relatively, in terms of whether budget or your writers or your technicians. When do you think the creativity actually flourishes? Is it in abundance or in limitation?
When Dharmendraji goes up on that tank, now, it's not exactly word by word what was written for him. Then there was improvisation as well. And it had to be, because he's in that mood. So that was a combination of the character as well as the actor and the lines and his performance. And, I mean, it just all came together so beautifully that today it's a scene which is remembered. And that goes for Mr. Bachchan as well.
Does your creativity gets limited if you're working within a limited budget, within limited resources? Does that hamper your creativity as a filmmaker, as opposed to when you have?
Unfortunately, my experience is that I had a budget for Sholay, 1 crore, because my previous film, Sita or Gita, cost 50 lakhs. So we said, let's be a bit large-hearted, keep 1 crore for this.
But for 73, that was a lot of money. For 1973, that was a lot of money.
Yes, but it went on to cost 3 crores. Because it went on and on. Because I've said this before, but shooting the massacre scene of Sanjeev Kumar's family, the Thakur's family, I started to shoot, and after 2 days, the clouds came and the sun went away. So we sat for a day. In those days, the film was such that you could not do anything about it. You had to get some sunlight. You couldn't match it like you do in post-production, as you say. Correct? So otherwise you could have fiddled with it in post-production. But no. And on the 4th day, clouds again. So I asked the cameraman, because the mind started to work. And the texture of the scene changed. I said, if I do it like this, I'll be able to build that, the little wind, the little... and it changed only in terms of what the... not that the dialogues were changed or anything like that. But the sense of it, the point is, it cost me 21 days of shooting because of the weather. I had to wait for the cloudy weather. Then we started to make some thin covers on top to filter, if the sun is there, how to filter it on the sets. Things like that were improvised, and we were able to shoot it. And ultimately, there was no other way but to spend more time and money trying to get what you want.
Right. But so, Did you feel that you were taking a risk in terms of money? Like,
and a word to me, what are you doing? So that's where I was very lucky. He just let me do what I was doing. He had the confidence that I was doing the right thing.
Suppose you've spent so much of money, so much of time, so much of energy into this dream project of yours, Sholay. And if it had failed miserably in the box office,
I wouldn't be here then.
So there's no such thing as like taking things with a pinch of salt and getting up and moving up again. Can that happen to a filmmaker? When a dream project fails,
yes, it can.
And he still retains the energy to continue,
yes,
to stand up and move?
It can happen, but it will affect his confidence also.
Do you know anyone that you know like that in Hindi cinema?
No, I'm sure there must be people who have felt this. People start to abandon you financially, or in different ways. You find even actors then dropping out from projects. These things do happen. It's not.
How much of a burden is it when you lose a lot of money in a film? How much for the maker?
Well, if it's borrowed money, it's carrying interest all the time. There is a certain foolishness when you allow budgets to go that.
How do you look at the progression of cinema making over the years? Because you see, what has happened is with so many different sources of viewing cinema, people have cinema in their own hands. With a click of a button, they can go anywhere. And what it used to be a cinema literacy in those days are available to anyone with a nice smartphone. A 10-year-old would have a cinema literacy
exactly
of that of, let's say, 70s professional filmmaker, when they talk about long shot, mid shot, focus in, focus out, this and that. All these cinema jargons are used by lay persons today. Correct. So is it more challenging to be a filmmaker in this time and age than it used to be before?
I think that will always be there. The challenges were there then. As you said,
every second person in one way or the other is a filmmaker these days. Everybody is creating one thing or the other. Whereas in those days, filmmaking was exclusively the department of the professionals.
Correct.
And they only knew how to do it. If they were talking about editing, the rest of the audience didn't know. If they were talking about, I don't know, long shot, mid shot, focus out, focus, and these are the jargons that the normal people are using it these days. What's dubbing, what's this. So do you think it's more of a challenge, much more challenging to be a film director in this age and
today?
Era?
Yes, I think it is. But as I said, if you take technology along with you and let it help you in achieving what you want to achieve, you will be able to achieve it in lesser money today because of the special effect. Your knowledge of that technology will allow you to, okay, this I can do. So it can be helpful.
Like I remember, even in the 90s, if you have to picturize, say, the interior of a moving car, that itself was an extreme challenge.
It was.
And now you have so many different types of cameras available, you can do it in a flick of a finger.
Yes, I remember, because after that, when I made Shan, that started to happen. I used to sit on the bonnet of the car, facing the actor behind the wheel, and the co-artist with the actor in front, and you're going through, and the crowds, you have to avoid the crowds because you'll see them. So all these factors were there, and it was very difficult to shoot within the city. And all my work on Shan was in the city, on the docks, in the streets, on those car chases and everything. What would normally have taken 3-4 days to shoot took, again, 20 days, 25 days to get it right.
And the audience were pretty naive about the
the difficulties. They don't see the difficulties. They see the end product.
That's why the word, the cinematic liberty used to be very famous those days, because
absolutely
you can fool your audience.
Absolutely correct. You got it.
Which is probably not possible these days. Yeah. The difference today is that people want to watch larger than life and extraordinary things on the screen, but at the same time, they demand that it should be believable. Even if it is done extraordinarily, larger than life way, the audience still wants to know that it has to be presented in such a way that it's believable. That's
correct.
They don't see any mistakes in there, so it has to be flawless today. And the technology has probably helped that.
That has, yes, it definitely has. But each time, even then, when the back projection came in first, for the first time, that was a technological advance. It did help a lot.
Especially in a moving objects, yeah.
Yes. But there you could see technically that it was, if you were very sharp, you could tell it's done on a back projection screen, because you didn't have enough maneuverability. Just the back window, the back glass, the back of the car, the rear glass would allow you to, so your blue screen was behind it. And that's how.
But the general audience had no idea how it has been done. And that's probably what.
Now they all know, as you say.
Now they all know. They know everything about filmmaking. So this is what I feel nowadays. If you're a filmmaker these days, you have to be a notch higher than the average person, because everyone knows about filmmaking. Everybody knows how to make a moving picture. Everybody knows about editing. Everybody knows about how to put good visuals together. So in order to be a good filmmaker, one has to be few notches higher than the normal people.
Yes, you've got it right. You hit it on the spot. It is so easy, and they know all about it. So when they see, this must have been done like this, and this must have been done like that. And yet, when the audience comes into a theatre to watch the film, they are ready to watch. It's not, they haven't come there to criticize it. They really want to appreciate it, otherwise they wouldn't spend that 500,000, 1,500 bucks for a ticket. In the days of Sholay, it was 2 rupees, 3 rupees, and 4 rupees.
Don't you think the movie viewing culture has changed drastically? Like those days when you were making Sholay, film used to be actually the cheapest form of entertainment.
Absolutely.
And now it's not so cheap form of entertainment
Not
at all. So how do you see that? I mean, once upon a time, cinema was, accessible to every lay person. A person who labors on the street throughout the day is looking forward to go and watch a film in an air-conditioned movie hall and just have a good time. Whereas today, maybe some of the movie theaters are off-limit to people of certain income groups.
That's true.
So how do you see this transformation?
Yes, but theaters are also doing things now to, you come on a particular day, the ticket is much lower. They have these incentives, or you go there, you get a Coke or a thing extra. There are ways of getting around that. So it makes it a little more easier for certain audiences who would not be able to afford it to come in and get a pleasure of the big screen.
Yeah, this is what I have distinctly noticed, and it's not just in India, even here in Nepal. Earlier, when we used to go to the movie hall, the representation was mostly of the average person of that society or that country. But now you go to one of these fancy movie halls in the city, and then you see it's a completely different class of people representing as an audience. That is something distinctly I have noticed over the period.
What we do have is most of the screens are like that now. There are a few single cinemas still in existence, and that audience still goes there, and the rates are also lower there. But yes, it's a big problem.
And as far as the content of the Hindi cinema goes nowadays, or the storyline of Hindi cinema, do you think that has gone through changes over the period? Like the kind of story you would want to make into a film in the 70s as opposed to now?
I don't think that at its core it's different. You see Dhurandhar today?
Just the presentation has changed a lot.
He's made a wonderful film, but he's used what we are talking about. He's used technology as well as the real thing, and he's made a wonderful combination. But it is all action and blood and gore, and it's been presented in a way that is palatable. And this is a bigger hit than just a family story or a. So this is how.
So that is immutable truth. That's an unchanging truth over the years. The content of the story.
Yes.
The technology might help it to bring it into a different scale and different presentation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I guess cinema is all about human emotions and human expressions, and human emotions and expressions probably don't change.
And they're
people
forever.
feel the same way.
Yeah, you don't. If you love someone, you love someone. It's not like
Angry at someone, you're angry at someone.
And you're angry, absolutely.
Whether you're a man at 70s or the man of today's age.
Something will take you to that intolerable level. It's bound to.
This is what I always felt, everything is changeable. Like over the years, place might change, cities might change, society might change, but the emotion remains intact, the way our great-grandfather felt when they were in love is the same kind of emotions that we feel today. The way they reacted when they were angry, we react in a more or less same way, So the human emotion is, I think, the only thing which is permanent in this ever-changing world,
Yes, I'm sure most of the people will agree. I have no problem with those who don't. I carry my convictions with myself, and as you would always do for yourself, and each one does for themselves. I think it's fair.
From all this larger-than-life project, how did you get into television all of a sudden? Especially in those days. I mean, Bunyad was in Doordarshan, right?
Yes.
Before the cable television and multi-channel.
Yes.
So how did that come about? I mean, how was that transformation made?
Actually, some of the DD officials at that time suggested to my father, because he had a good rapport with the government, and they said, we've launched this channel, but we need some good material on it. Can you think of something you can... And the writer who had written an earlier...
story revolved around partition, right?
Yes.
India,
What I'm saying is,
partition.
the writer of Bunyad was a writer who had done an earlier film, earlier series. As I got to know that writer, I felt a kind of a pulse that it's going to, this guy knows what he's talking about. So when it was set in partition and he was able to come up with a script, which I liked. And I said, okay, let's go. It was a whole different kind of movie making. It was not movies, it was every episode, if you could leave it on a little...
And you must have shot in video cameras or...
The first 26 episodes I shot on film, 16mm film. And then switched to the
videos. And that was, how many series was it? Like how long?
105 episodes.
105. So that's what, like over a year? Over
a year.
Over a year.
Twice a week. 52 weeks, 104 episodes.
Was that a profitable venture?
Yes.
It was, okay.
It did well. In the beginning, we lost a lot of money, but started to pick up. And because we got into control of the shooting time, and then we were able to bring it out at a fairly commercial kind of income, cost to income, we were able to balance it well.
So that was the only television venture that you attempted?
No, I did one more. After that, I made a film. Then after that film, I did one again for the DD started the morning thing.
The morning segment.
Morning segment. That's where I made something called Kismat. So that was also, that did well. Then later on, went to do a film, a series called Gatha, which was also 100 episodes, just a little bit less than that. But that actually was on Star Plus. Now, Star Plus, the audience was not a needy audience. It was Star Plus had not made a dent in the...
So they were just coming in?
Yes.
Star Plus, okay. And that took the television industry much higher.
Then Star Plus, once the
you had your
Saas Bahu thing came in.
and then you have
it went
ZTV
crazy.
and
Yes,
whatnot, and much later after that. Before we part, Rameshji, I mean, we talked a lot about Sholay, but I would also like to talk about your other very, very popular film like Shahan, Shakti, Trishul. These are all yours, right?
Not Trishul.
Not Trishul.
Shahan, Shakti, Sagar.
Sagar, yeah, right, exactly, Sagar. Tell us about that. Sagar is what? Rishi Kapoor and Kamal Hassan ji?
Kamal Hassan, Rishi Kapoor, and
Dimple.
Dimple, yeah.
That was a combination of that time as well, like getting Kamal Hassan from South, and then you have this lover boy image of Rishi Kapoor, and Dimple was she was taking a sabbatical, and you...
Yeah, she did only one film first.
You woke her up and brought her to the set. How did that come about?
Again, we decided, because I like to do each film different from my previous film. So Shakti was a drama, father and son. So
yeah, you brought in Dilip Kumarji with Amitabh Bachchan, which was also another huge step.
And then I felt maybe a love story. Let's think of something which is different. Discussed it with Javed Sahab. Unfortunately, they had split at that time, Salim Javed. So Javed, then let's do a triangle, but it was just a thought. It was not a script. It took about a year for that to happen. And then a lot of it was made on the set, in the sets, improvisations and how it would be. Because Kamal Hassan, I found, was an actor so full of himself and he was so right in the way he did things, in the sense, sir, can I do it like this? Only if you feel that it's okay, then I can, and he would do it in a certain way. It was written in a certain way, and he did it a little differently.
As opposed to Rishi Kapoorji, who's very spontaneous and...
Yeah, he's simple. And because his role was like that. But him, he's part of the village, he's jumping around, he's got... So all that energy was his. He brought that extra energy to the character. So that's how actors also do when they make it their own and bring something extra out of it. You got to, and you got to be prepared to accept that. As a director, you must. Otherwise, if I had said no, he would have been normal. But it may not have been the performance it was.
Before I let you go, how's life now? What are you doing now? And what do you?
I am thinking of a project, which hopefully, if it all works out in the next month or two, then by the end of the year I might shoot. It's not a big budget or a huge thing, but it's set in a place called Mathura in UP. It's set over there with characters from there. So I think If all works out, then I should be on that.
I wish you all the best. May you have a very long and healthy life and creative life. And
thank you so much.
And don't let your passion go away.
That was two cinema legends in one frame, and this is Creative Forum. We'll be back with more shows and episodes. This is me, Suveksha Rajak. Let's leave for another creativity.
Shall we start now?
I'll try my best.
Okay. Your best performance, okay?
The most important innings for me would be the Nepal versus Hong Kong game. And I scored 41 runs because that match, it was one step into the World Cup. And for me, I remember going into that game, I thought I'll not hit the ball in the air at all because if I stayed in the crease and scored runs, meant that Nepal had better chances of winning. And those 41 runs in that game would probably be the most valuable innings that I've ever played, where I got run out. But that every run, if I think of it now, would probably be the time when I took the most pressure during my whole 20 years of career. But those would be the most important runs of my career.
Best Nepali batsman of all time?
It's difficult. Why? Because I have seen a lot of great players, and you look at the current batch of cricketers, meant that everyone's been performing exceptionally well. If I really had to pick one name, just from a talent perspective, who did not play as much for Nepal but was extremely talented, was Sandeep Shrestha. He played few matches for Nepal, but just looking at him, he was so casual at how he played the sport.
I can't agree with you anymore. Best coach you have played under?
If I really had to pick one person, would be Prabhudu, because that transformation of Nepal cricket from 11 to 16 while he was here, and we qualifying for the World Cup was an important moment.
Most difficult opponent you have played against?
Obviously, Afghanistan and Nepal always, gets compared. I remember playing Afghanistan's first match in 2005, and then they wanted to become a test playing nation in 2016.
Best bowler you have faced, or the most difficult bowler you have ever faced?
I think Basant Rigmi easily is the best bowler that I played. I keep saying Sandeep played the IPL. He's gone on to play all leagues all over the world. He's been phenomenal. But Basant Rigmi, if let's say had got the platform back in the day from a fast bowler who turned into a left arm spinner, probably the best bowler that I have faced. And at one point he was probably the best left arm spinner and somebody who nobody could hit.
Best upcoming talent?
I think Gulshan Jha, the potential that he has as an all-rounder, and he's left-handed. Obviously, there's a lot more things that he needs to add up into his game, but he has potential to really grow into something.
Best Nepali bowler?
Would be Binod Das. I think he was probably the best fast bowler that I played. I mean, Sompal and Karan have carried the nation's burden for the last 10 years, but Binod Das was probably the best fast bowler.
He was the leading fast bowler in the associate countries at his peak as well. 2014 T20 World Cup qualification or 2018 ODI status?
It has to be the World Cup, and I really can't pick between the two. Why? Because the ODI status is important for the overall setup of how a cricket nation functions at the associate world, but qualifying for the World Cup and playing the World Cup meant that cricket became important to this nation. So I would definitely pick the World Cup.
Best ever performance under your captaincy, Nepal's?
3 matches we played at the World Cup.
14 World Cup.
Because at the global stage, we never played under floodlights. We went into Dubai a week ago. And also when you are young, I think we're a young team. We had no fears. We were a strong unit, backed by good coaching. Whatever that we had, we were happy about it. And that moment where we were presented in front of the world, we did not crumble. Playing against Hong Kong, playing against Afghanistan, and like competing against Bangladesh, meant that that is when we made our first significant impact. So those 3 matches would probably be the best performance. But if you go through the Division 5, 4-3-2 cycle, more. I mean, every tournament has its own story, and it has been an incredible journey.
Best batsman in world cricket you admire?
Has to be Brian Charles Lara. Got to see him in Nepal as well, so he was a genius.
He was a genius. Best all-rounder in world cricket?
Jack Harris, easily.
All right.
When you look at his batting stats, his bowling stats, there's no comparison to what he has achieved.
Exactly. Best bowler in world cricket all time?
Shane Warne. I'll probably say he's the greatest cricketer that played the sport.
True. You are a big Aussie fan as well?
I follow the Australian cricket team.
Best captain in world cricket all time?
If I really have to go back old school, it would have to be Stephen Fleming. Fleming was a great leader, left-handed batter, and is still coaching the Chennai Super. A great cricket mind, and even Ricky Ponting. If you think of the fact that he had to lead this team of gladiators and had to captain them, Steve Waugh led by examples, But if I had to pick one person, if it's a name, Stephen Fleming. Although he didn't win championships, but had a lot of respect with everybody around and still does.
Paras, let's sit down now. Let's create Nepal's all-time 11, all formats.
It's going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult. Let's try.
Sandeep Shrestha is opening. Then you'd probably pick maybe Kushal
Bhutel. Paris opening. Fantastic.
2. Then number 3 would be Gyanendra Malla.
Superb.
Number 4.
Let's try.
Number 4 would be Dipender Singh Airi.
Dipender Singh Airi, of course.
At number 4. Okay. Sarat Visagar at 5.
5.
Raju Kharka at 6.
6.
Then Sakti Gauchan at 7.
7.
Basant Ragmi at 8.
8.
Sandeep Lamichhane at 9. Binod Das.
Okay.
And it'll be difficult between Sompal and Karan.
All right.
Because both of them, so depending on the format, because both have been great match winners, which means that if it's ODI, I would pick Sompal.
Being diplomatic here.
If it's ODI, I mean if it's T20, I would pick Karan. So that's the playing 11. Sandeep
Shrestha, number 1.
Kushal Bhutel, Gyanendra Malla at 3. Dipender Singh Airi at 4. Sarat Visagar at 5. Raju Kharka at 6. Sakti Gauchan at 7. Basant Ragmi at 8. Sandeep Lamichhane at 9. Binod Das at 10. And 11 would be
either Sompal or Karan. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. All rounders, please rank. Raju Kharka?
1. Dipender Singh Airi 2.
All right.
Sakti Gauchan 3.
All right.
Gulshan Jha 4.
All right.
Mehboob Alam at 5. So
Mehboob Alam at 5.
Iran's foreign ministry has said it has called for an end to the war across the region and the release of frozen assets abroad in its response to the latest US proposal. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai in a weekly press briefing said Iran's demands include an end to the war in the region, ending the US naval blockade, and the release of assets belonging to the Iranian people which have for years been unjustly trapped in foreign banks.
تنها چیزی که مطالبه کردیم حقوق مشروع ایران بوده. من قضاوت رو به شما و مردممون واگذار میکنم که آیا مطالبه ایران برای خاتمه جنگ در منطقه، مطالبه ایران برای توقف راهزنی دریایی علیه کشتی‌های ایران، اونچه که تحت عنوان محاصره دریایی اسمش گذاشتند، مطالبه ایران برای آزاد شدن دارایی‌های متعلق به مردم ایران که سالهاست به ناحق به خاطر فشار آمریکا در بانک‌های خارجی محبوس شده، آیا اینها مطالبه زیاده خواهانه است؟ پیشنهاد ما برای این که در تنگه هرمز تردد ایمن صورت بگیره آیا مطالبه زیاده خواهانه است؟
The US had proposed an end to fighting before starting talks on more contentious issues, including Iran's nuclear program. Tehran also included a demand for compensation for war damage and emphasized Iranian sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said he has rejected Iran's response to a US proposal for ending the Middle East war, deeming it totally unacceptable, and warned that Washington will not compromise on security demands. Following Trump's response, oil prices have risen as international oil benchmark Brent rose by 4.1% to $105.50 a barrel in Asian trade before falling slightly. Energy prices have swung widely since the start of the conflict, while Brent crude has risen back over $100 a barrel since the ceasefire came into effect on 8th of April. The key Strait of Hormuz waterway has been effectively shut since shortly after the war started on 20th February, disrupting global supplies of oil and gas. Beijing has confirmed that US President Donald Trump will travel to China this week to meet Xi Jinping. The visit from 13 to 15 May will be the first to China by a US president in nearly a decade and comes at a pivotal moment for ties between the world's two largest economies. Executives from some of America's biggest companies, including Boeing, Citigroup, and Qualcomm, are expected to travel with Trump, potentially to make deals with Chinese companies. It will also mark a key test in the fragile trade truce between Washington and Beijing. In April 2025, Trump unveiled sweeping import taxes on countries across the world, friend or foe. A major effect of that policy was a tit-for-tat trade war between the US and China that saw them hit each other with tariffs that topped 100%. The tariffs were paused after Trump and Xi held face-to-face meeting in South Korea in October, but threats from both the sides have continued. Meanwhile, China has said it is ready to work with the United States in the pursuit of more stability globally ahead of this week's meeting between leaders Xi Jinping and Trump. Foreign Ministry's spokesperson Guo Jiakun said that China is willing to work with the United States in the spirit of equality, respect, and mutual benefit to expand cooperation and inject more stability into a volatile and intertwined world.
元首外交对中美关系具有不可替代的战略引领作用，中方愿同美方一道，秉持平等、尊重、互惠的精神，扩大合作，管控分歧，为变乱交织的世界注入更多的稳定性和确定性。
The two leaders meet in Beijing comes in the middle of the worst global energy shock in decades.
Thai authorities have announced one of the largest ivory seizures in recent years, intercepting a major smuggling attempt involving 250 kilograms of African elephant tusk. The operation marks the biggest ivory confiscation in more than a decade and highlights the continued challenge of illegal wildlife trafficking in the region. According to police, 9 suspects have been detained in connection with the case. The group is accused of attempting to illegally sell the tusk through social media platforms, particularly Facebook, using covert accounts and encrypted communication to arrange transactions with potential buyers. Investigators believe the network was part of a wider transnational smuggling chain, moving protected wildlife products from Africa into Southeast Asia. Authorities said the ivory was carefully concealed to avoid detection during transport and was intended for sale in small, high-value batches to evade law enforcement scrutiny. The seizure was made after an extended targeted surveillance operation, during which officers monitored online activity and tracked suspicious listings linked to wildlife products. Officials from Thailand's wildlife and environmental agencies have praised the operation as a significant breakthrough in the fight against illegal ivory trade, which continues to threaten elephant populations despite international bans.
Two seasons are being experienced at the same time in the historic Süleymaniye neighborhood of Gümüşhane in Turkey. The late arrival of spring has brought vibrant colors to the surroundings of many historical structures in the area. Snow-covered peaks in the higher elevation and white blossoms blooming across the green valley are creating a stunning scenery for visitors and locals alike. The unique landscape where winter and spring can be seen together has captivated nature lovers and photographers. The rare contrast has turned the region into a natural showcase of seasonal transition, drawing increasing attention from tourists and travel enthusiasts. Locals say the unusual weather pattern has made this year's scenery one of the most visually striking in recent memory.
A unique tea ceremony has been held on the back of a lavishly decorated truck known as Dekotora in Kyoto City. Organizers, including an art team formed by business leaders in Kyoto, held the event in front of Higashi Honganji, a Buddhist temple in the city, on Saturday. The truck was decorated entirely in gleaming chrome, including the inside of the cargo area, which was set up as a tea room with a hanging scroll. The representative of the art team, Shimada Akisato, served tea as the host. Visitors to the temple watched with curiosity as the tea ceremony was performed in the shiny truck. Shimada said he hopes the sense of strangeness caused by the tea room will spark interest among people unfamiliar with the Japanese tea ceremony. High Rocks Hong Kong 2026, an indoor fitness competition that has surged in popularity around the world in recent years, wrapped up its 3-day event in Hong Kong with close to 20,000 participants taking part in the demanding athletic challenge. Organizers say they hope the competition can eventually be developed into one of the city's major mega events. Parts of Asia World Expo were transformed into a massive indoor gym over the past few days, drawing thousands of fitness enthusiasts eager to test the endurance and strength. The competition began with a 1-kilometer run before athletes moved through a series of high-intensity workout stations designed to push them to their physical limits. Competitors took on challenges including the ski erg and the sled push, requiring both power and stamina. In total, athletes were required to complete all 8 workout stations and cover an overall distance of 8 kilometers. This year's competition attracted nearly 20,000 participants over 3 days, with organizers saying the number had doubled compared with last year's turnout. Many visiting athletes praised both the atmosphere and the scale of the event. Organizers say they are aiming to further expand the competition in the coming years, with participation expected to rise to around 30,000 next year. They are also considering launching additional categories for young athletes aged between 8 and 15. People have flocked to New York City to see an annual parade showcasing Japanese culture. The hit manga and anime series Jujutsu Kaisen was one of the main attractions. The Japan parade on Saturday featured about 100 groups, including those representing various prefectures of Japan. They marched down a main avenue along Central Park while giving dance, martial arts, and other performances. Among the participants was the cast of Jujutsu Kaisen The Stage, a theatrical adaptation of the popular manga by Akutami Gege. The actors' dynamic battle scenes drew cheers from the crowd. Fujita Rei, one of the cast members, said their performances were well received, so he wants to keep up the good work in the hope of taking to the stage in the United States someday. Another cast member, Miura Ryosuke, said he believes Japan has wonderful cultures that are not yet known overseas. He expressed his desire to spread Japanese culture openly and with confidence. A 19-year-old spectator dressed in summer kimono known as yukata, said she likes to watch anime adapted into stage plays and is impressed to see how they are performed in the real world. Tourist information centers for Nagasaki and Okinawa prefectures and Japanese food stalls were set up near the venues. About 50,000 people showed up despite the rain.
Final preparations are underway in France ahead of the 79th edition of the Cannes Film Festival, which is scheduled to begin in 2 days. Organizers are completing last-minute logistical arrangements as the French Riviera city prepares to host one of the world's most prominent international film events. At the venue, security installations, media zones, and red carpet infrastructure are being finalized. Workers have been seen setting up barriers and screening areas as accreditation processes continue for movie makers, journalists, and industry professionals. Meanwhile, tourists and early arrivals are gathering outside the venue, taking photographs and recording videos of the iconic red carpet steps and festival signage. The area remains active with increased security presence and controlled access as preparations enter their final phase. The festival is expected to draw major international movie premieres, celebrities, and industry stakeholders with global attention focused on Cannes as it prepares to officially open the event. Da Nang has been ranked second on Lonely Planet's list of the best destinations in Asia for the summer of 2026, highlighting the Vietnamese coastal city's growing international tourism appeal. Da Nang has been enlisted alongside several major Asian destinations, including Busan, Bali, Almaty, Sendai, and Mongolia's Altai Mountains. According to Lonely Planet, June is considered the ideal time to visit Da Nang, known for its coastline, beaches, and resort destinations in central Vietnam. Da Nang's latest recognition further strengthens its position on the international tourism map, particularly in beach tourism, luxury resorts, and outdoor travel experiences, as Vietnam continues to attract growing numbers of regional and international visitors.
Intermittent playing hide-and-seek with the folk, enchanting one's heart with the sight of fully bloomed rhododendrons, and rejoicing in the lap of nature with the chirping of the birds. When you set foot in Sandakpur, you experience a wonderful feeling of heavenly bliss right here on earth. Due to the ever-changing weather and the snow-white mountains visible right in front of your eyes, Sandakpur constantly draws everyone's heart towards it. As a habitat for numerous species of birds and endangered wildlife, Sandakpur always leaves an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of all. Situated at an altitude of 3,636 meters above the sea level, Sandakpur is located at Ward 2 and 4 of Sandakpur Rural Municipality in Nepal's eastern Ilam district. Embracing the mountains of Nepal, India and Bhutan, Sandakpur is the only place in South Asia where one can observe the Himalayas of all three countries. While enjoying the Himalayan settlements, one can observe the sunrise and sunset from Sandakpur. It is the only place in Nepal from where over 60 mountain peaks, including the Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu, Pathivara, and Kumbhakarna, can be seen from one spot. Being the source of the holy Mai River, one of the 4 major rivers in Ilam, Sandakpur is also revered from a religious standpoint, attracting pilgrims from Sandakpur Ridge. The settlements of Ilam, Jhapa, and West Bengal of India seem so close that it feels like you could hold them in the palm of your hand. The crimson glow of the sun rising from the Bay of Bengal in the morning, glittering upon the mountains. The joy of witnessing this form such a height is majestic. That is why, in winter for the snow and during the monsoon for the rain, the number of visitors from both home and abroad to Sandakpur is on the rise. Among the different species of rhododendrons found in Nepal, 36 can be spotted just along the Sandakpur trek. The rhododendrons blooming all over the forest captivate every heart. With the chirping of birds, the cliffside honeybees, and the opportunity to study endangered species like the red panda, vultures, while enjoying nature, Sandakpur journey has captivated trekkers from around the world. Every year, more than 150,000 tourists from India, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Europe visit Sandakpur. Known as the Bird's Eye Place, Sandakpur was declared a one province, one cultural village by Nepal government in 2018. However, the place still awaits infrastructures like drinking water, electricity and proper trekking trails. Sandakpur can be reached after a 42-kilometer ride from the Ilam headquarters via Mai Pokhari and Kalu Pokhari. Another route to Sandakpur is from Ilam Bazar via Biblate, Sulubung, Mabu and Kalu Pokhari. When trekking to Sandakpur, the highest point of the Mahabharata range, the joy of staying in the homestays and hotels along the way while savoring local cuisine is immeasurable. While forging a connection with the Himalayan settlements, enjoying herbs and local produce, and playing in the snow in winter and the rain during the monsoon, you must visit Sandakpur at least once in your life.
The golden light that starts to glow, the quiet peace that helps you grow. This power comes from deep inside, a rising, never-ending tide. This is me, this is my soul. Ma, make my spirit whole.
Not only the female perspective as a man, हामी आफैले चाहिँ आफ्नो त्यो एउटा चाहिँ त्यो एउटा चाहिँ म भन्ने शक्ति एउटा चाहिँ हामीले आफैले बुझेर मनन गरेर चाहिँ काम गर्नुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ.
Her works more says about the inner emotions and psychological world of the woman through a lot of imagery and a symbol like a third eye.
Pain has to support art, otherwise art is not seen and known by others.
It feels like women are the universe and they are the ones who creates, and without them this universe is empty.
Look inside ourselves, and look inside our own id to see what we are and how we navigate in the world.
नयाँ palette पनि आएको छ उहाँको, very light biscuit color जस्तैमा with very minimalistic lines.
Ma has always been so close. Like this exhibition is also like a reflection for me.
मनको दियोलाई चाहिँ बालिराख्नुपर्छ.
Darbar Marg. It is the pulse of our city, loud, fast, and constantly moving. But just a few steps away, behind these doors at 108 Art Gallery, the world changes. The noise of the street fades into a profound golden silence. For over 3 decades, Irina Tamrakar has been a defining voice in Nepali contemporary art. Known globally for her Third Eye series, she now pivots inward. Welcome to Creative Forum. Today we explore Ma, myself, that me within us.
यो सोलो आउनुभन्दा पहिला म निकै वर्ष चाहिँ धेरै वर्ष थर्ड आई सिरिजमा काम गरेको थिएँ। थर्ड आईमा चाहिँ कलरहरू पनि डिफ्रेन्ट थियो, अलिकति पावरमा वुमेन्स पावर भनेर हामी महिलाहरूको पावर, यङ केटीहरूको पावर, त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ मैले धेरैवटा पावरको हिसाबले चाहिँ शक्ति चाहियो क्या हामी महिलालाई, होइन? त्यही हिसाबले शक्तिको आधारमा मैले रातो कलरहरू चाहिँ हामी नेपाली कल्चर हिसाबले पनि शक्ति नै हो, टिकाहरू लाउँछौँ। त्यो कन्सेप्टमा धेरै वर्ष काम गरिसकेपछि तेस्रो नेत्र हामी महिलालाई चाहिन्छ क्या, होइन? हामी एवेर हुनुपर्छ, समाजमा हामी फाइट गर्नुपर्छ, समाजमा हामी आफ्नो हिसाबले अघि बढ्न सक्नुपर्छ भन्ने कन्सेप्टले म अघि बढेको थिएँ। मैले त्यो कन्सेप्टमा पेन्टिङ गरेँ। अनि अहिले आएर चाहिँ थर्ड आईभित्र पनि मलाई अब अझ खोजी गर्न मन लाग्यो, होइन? म भनेर चाहिँ फिल आइसकेपछि मैले म किन नराख्ने अब यसमा थर्ड आईको बिचमा भनेर। अनि देवनागरीलाई मलाई चाहिँ होइन कि अलिकति रचना लिपि, नेपाल प्रचलित लिपि, त्यसलाई चाहिँ मको रूपमा त्यति फरक त छैन, तर अलिअलि फरकको हिसाबले चाहिँ म राखेको हो।
Well, I'm very impressed. That way I'm quite familiar with the art of Irina. She's been long familiar to me as an artist. Now, since she was struggling to establish herself, I knew her. Now, she's well established now. I feel very proud on her progress. In modern version of art, what is needed to explore, continually explore more and more. It must speak your mind. So that's what she's been doing for a long time. Whereas others do choose different motives and different kinds of things for your expression, visual expression, smooth your impulses. But unlike others, Irina has chosen only one particular theme, one motive for a long time. That is a woman face. Maybe she's trying to see herself in a mirror. And this is very unique. Let me tell you very frankly, this is very unique. Now I thought, how could one explore on one particular motive for a long, long time? But she did well. So what we need in art is to continually express, to explore, then and get a diversity out of it. But she did it. And she's genuinely an artist.
I feel like when I see the works, I feel like her works more says about the inner emotions and psychological world of the woman through a lot of imagery and a symbol like a third eye, and also through more about her very personal visual language. So I do see these things, and it's more about woman's resilience that I see in her works.
This transition isn't just thematic, it's a shift in energy.
If you dive deeply on her works, you'll notice the dots and the aesthetic parts of her work and the colors she plays with, along with the motifs of women. They all are very attractive. At the same time, she gives the message that women are powerful. Women have the courage, women have the strength to do whatever they need to do. And moreover, she focuses on the feminine aspect as a universe. Like if you focus on a painting, there are so many dots, right? So those each, if you stand still and look at her work for some time, you will feel those dots are the universe. And the female she paints on the canvas, it feels like women are the universe and they are the ones who creates, and without them this universe is empty.
हेर्दाखेरि लुक्स बबल तर त्यो लाइट हो के हामीले लाइटलाई परको लाइटलाई हेर्यो भने अलि ब्लड हुन्छ नि धमिलो किसिमले शार्प देखिन्न त्यो लाइटको सिम्बल चाहिँ त्यही हो अनि किन यसरी भयो भन्दाखेरि मलाई देखाउनु छ कि हामी कोही पनि सबैजनाले चाहिँ मनको दियोलाई चाहिँ बालिराख्नुपर्छ हैन मनमा नदेखिने बत्ती त देखिन्न मनको बत्ती त्यसमा धागो पनि देखिन्न तेल पनि देखिन्न त्यसैले हामीले चाहिँ के गर्नुपर्छ भन्दा मनको दियो बालिराख्नलाई हामीले तेल थपिरहनु पर्यो धागो चाहिँ थपिरहनु पर्यो सारिरहनु पर्यो भन्ने कन्सेप्टले चाहिँ अब त्यो चिजलाई कसरी देखाउने हैन त्यो कन्सेप्टले चाहिँ मैले अनि त्यो बत्तीलाई सिम्बोलिक गरेर त्यो बत्ती भनेको मनको बत्ती हो है आँखा चिम्लिरहेछ नि हैन खोलि पनि रहेछ त्यो मनको बत्ती चाहिँ यसरी बत्ती भनेर देखाउन खोजेको मेरो कन्सेप्टमा चाहिँ अब हरेक किसिमबाट त्यो तल माथि तल हैन उठेको जस्तो बबल कलरफुल बबल जस्तो त्यो चाहिँ त्यसरी देखाउन खोजे अब ठ्याक्कै देखायो भने फेरि पेन्टिङमा टेक्निकली नमिल्न सक्छ नि त कसरी उज्यालो बनाउने भन्ने कुरा हुन्छ अनि यो चाहिँ अलिकति फ्यान्टेसीसँग पनि कनेक्टेड गरिकन
One painting that really struck me was a painting of Mother Earth, where Erina ji has portrayed Mother Earth in a form of a Nepali lady with the elements of earth, like fish, animals, forest, but we cannot see the actual eyes or the features of human feature, but it still gives the vibe of the earthy feeling that that the painting is trying to show. So that is, I think, very interesting of Erina ji to actually give to actually portray Mother Earth in form of her own style.
एरिनाको सिलुएट्स इन टाइम भन्ने एक्जिबिसन भएको थियो सिद्धार्थ आर्ट ग्यालरीमा इट वाज अ भेरी सक्सेसफुल सो दिस फेस द्याट यु सी इन दिस एक्जिबिसन त्यो चाहिँ नि त्यति समयको बेला चाहिँ नि फर्स्ट टाइम इमर्ज गरेको हो द युज अफ गोल्ड टु डिस्प्ले द रिचनेस अफ आवर हेरिटेज त्यो प्यालेट पनि त्यति बेला नि आएको हो र त्यसपछिको एक्जिबिसनले मलाई लाग्छ एरिना कोरिया जान पनि सेलेक्ट भएको थियो अहिले चाहिँ नि नयाँ प्यालेट पनि आएको छ उहाँको भेरी लाइट बिस्किट कलर जस्तैमा विथ भेरी मिनिमलिस्टिक लाइन्स कुनै चाहिँ नि तपाईँले यहाँ देख्नुहुन्छ इन अ भेरी लिनियर त्यो चाहिँ नि मेरो लागि चाहिँ नि एउटा नयाँ डेभलपमेन्ट हो एन्ड आई होप एरिना कन्टिन्युज विथ दिस एब्स्ट्र्याक्ट लिनियर प्रोसेस जुन अहिले हामीले देखिरहेछौँ काममा त्यसको चाहिँ नि लार्जर स्केलमा पनि हुन सक्छ आई लुक फरवर्ड टु सीइङ दोज वर्क्स टु
I think most of the thing that I praise about the exhibition here is not only this exhibition, but Erina Didi's the way she plays with the color is fabulous, and the way she brings out that inner emotions of the female, that is also tremendous. So these are the things I really get inspired by her works, and also not only about the work, but as an artist, the dedication, the sincerity, the passion, and the humility I really admired of her.
So more, it's a ego, right, or id. So I think when the way we navigate the world is by measuring with our own body, with our own sense of self, right? So that sense of self, that identity is ma, right? So that's how we express I in English or ma in Nepali. But when an individual say ma, that might be in relationship to what is happening at the immediate moment. But when an artist is talking, for example, Erina's work, I think she's talking more than just the sense of herself. She might be speaking to the nature of womanhood and the women's roles in the society. So it's when I look at this work, I think I see it as a collective more, as a 50% of the population in the society, not just Erina.
This is me, this is my soul. Ma, make my spirit whole.
अहिलेको रिसेन्ट यो जुन म सिरिजमा चाहिँ नि मलाई लाग्छ इट्स अबाउट हर एउटा एक्सप्रेसन हो हैन एउटा फिमेल फर्म छ सो फिमेल क्यारेक्टर त्यसमा पनि मोर लाइक मोर फोकस अन द फेसेस हैन फिमेल फेसेसहरू छ अनि त्यसमा पनि अलिकति एउटा एग्रेसिभ फिलिङ्सहरू छ यसपालि चाहिँ नि सो एग्रेसिभ इन अ सेन्स लाइक अहिलेको जुन अहिले समाजमा जुन घटिरहेको घटनाहरू छ त्यसैलाई अलिकति बेस लिएर चाहिँ नि एप्रिलले काम गरेको छ यसपालि चाहिँ नि सो स्पेसली अब भन्नुपर्दा म सिरिज इज बेस्ड अन हर ओन एक्सप्रेसन ओन लाइक आइडेन्टिटी होइन त्यसमा बेस भएर काम गरिरहेछ सो सी हेज एक्सप्लोर कलरमा पनि अलिकति डार्कनेस अफ कलर चाहिँ युज गर्नुभएको छ म सिरिजमा सो प्रायः चाहिँ नि कलर्सहरू चाहिँ नि ग्रे ब्ल्याक त्यसमा पनि फेरि गोल्डन कलर चाहिँ मिक्स गर्नुभएको छ द्याट्स अ भेरी स्ट्रङ कलर चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ
As everybody knows, running a gallery is a very complex and financially challenging thing to do. But still, like my history, my family history, we've always been into art. For like now, regarding my own business, it's been running for more than 40 to 50 years and still running. So this is a small diversification from being an art shop and then to an art gallery. So it's two different streams, but the objective is still one: promoting Nepalese art. It's still a challenge that we have to get proper quality buyers, especially in the Nepalese market. And it's a very niche market in Nepal. We've got very handful people who actually are investing in art. So yeah, that's one of the major problems, because that's a problem for the lack of buyers that we have in Nepal. Giving artists the space that they require to show their artwork. And it's not just one specific artwork that we are promoting. So here in 108, we give a platform to all the different art and artists. So this is a major step that we as a gallery are taking. And we are also trying to promote artist merchandise, where the buyer can actually have the essence of the original artwork, but in a cheaper form, whether it be prints. Like we've tried a couple of things like making puzzles out of the original artwork, where we pay good royalty to the artist, and then gallery, we've got our certain commission, and then the buyer also gets a genuine piece in return.
The only thing that will help to sustain one in this creative field of the creative world is continuation. You have to do continuously. You shouldn't be stopping, right? To take rest is okay, but completely shut down is not okay. So that's the key point: continuation, the passion for it, and no matter what there is, we all are struggling in our own ways. And if you are a woman, then you have to struggle twice, right? So continuation is the key for sustaining in this creative scenario. Yeah.
Any creative field is very demanding, and a lot of time the investment in return is not immediate. So that's something I think both the parents and students or a young generation would have to think about. and they have to have a plan to support their creative practice until the creative practice can support them, and then look for opportunities not just in Nepal and also outside. Build network, be professional. When they commit to something, they should commit to that and show up, right? So I think the being professional and understanding and having a plan, not just one plan, but the plan one, plan A, plan B, plan C, would be helpful for them. But I think there are a lot more opportunities nowadays, and I wouldn't necessarily be pessimistic about it. But they have to be clear about what their goals are.
But this me is also a response to the external world.
Your contemporary समकालीन work is like this, हैन? किनभने हामीले एउटा बनाउँछौँ, तपाईले अर्कै फिल गर्नुहुन्छ, अर्को व्यक्तिले अर्कै गर्नुहुन्छ। जसले हेर्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरूले आफ्नै किसिमले मनन गर्न पाउनु यो नै विशेष हो, स्पेसियालिटी भन्छ नि। हामी सबैले आफूलाई राम्रोसँग आफूभित्र मभित्रको मलाई एकचोटि मनन गरिकन राम्रोसित आफूलाई चिन्न पायो भने मेरै पेन्टिङको मेरै मबाट तपाईले पनि आफूलाई खोज्न देख्नुभयो भने मेरो त्यसमा चाहिँ तपाईले सोच्नुभयो भने मैले बनाएको मसँग कनेक्ट हुनुभयो जस्तो मलाई लाग्छ, कनेक्ट हुनुहुन्छ कि जस्तो नि मलाई लाग्छ, र आफूलाई राम्रोसँग सजिलो किसिमबाट अघि बढ्न सक्छ जिन्दगीमा भन्ने जस्तो लाग्छ। त्यही खोज्नुहोस् भन्न चाहन्छु।
This was Erina Tamrakar's More Myself. We hope you were near to finding that more in you from today's episode of Creative Forum.
The golden light that starts to glow, the quiet peace that helps you grow. This power comes from deep inside, a rising, never-ending tide. This is me, this is my soul. Ma, make my spirit whole.
Music, dance, food, art and devotion are the lifeblood of Newar culture, an ancient civilization rooted in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. With lively festivals nearly every fortnight, the Newars celebrate life through a rich tapestry of traditions known as Jatra.
A reflection of biodiversity along with nature and culture. A view of the silver-like shining mountain range right before your eyes. A chronicle of the rituals and traditions of Kirati people from creation to civilization and the present day. A unique tourist trail in Nepal filled with natural beauty, the Mundum Trail. Mundum Trail is a uniquely identified trekking route in Nepal filled with natural beauty. The trail is an excellent tourist destination for trekkers who want to enjoy the culture and traditions of various ethnic groups while observing natural beauty. The Mundum Trail was identified as a new trekking route with the aim of promoting tourism in Khotang, Bhojpur, Sangkhwa Sabha and Solukhumbu regions of eastern Nepal. The specialty of the Mundum Trail is trekking while observing the tall mountain ranges, high hills, and beautiful views of the flat plains of Tarai. Since it is connected to the culture of the Kirati people, this trail is named after the Mundum rites of Kirat Rise. Various structures reflecting the culture and traditions of the Kirat Rise built around the trail. Large grassy meadows and yaks and sheep herds raised by local herdsmen highlight the speciality of the trek. Dishes reflecting the identity of ethnic groups like Kirat Rai, Sherpa, Tamang and others, local organic food produced by herdsmen, various types of vegetation and precious herbs can be found during the Mundum trek. The trail is a total of 107 kilometers long. Both domestic and international visitors say the rivers originating from Mahabharat mountain range, forests covered in rhododendrons, rare and endangered wildlife and plants, and animal husbandry by hard-working farmers captivates their hearts. The Mundum Trail, where one can trek through the hills with the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, at its head, is a precious gift from nature. It's a trek where one can escape the heat of the Tarai, enjoy natural beauty, reveling in the sweet sounds of birds, and connecting with endangered plants, making the experience all unique. As there is heavy snowfall in winter, the number of tourists trekking and playing in the snow along the Mundum Trail witnesses a surge every season. The Mundum Trail is connected to religion, culture, rituals and lifestyle of entire Kirat community. Mundum itself means the Kirat culture, rituals and the daily life of Kirati people or Kirat knowledge. And the concept of Mundum Trail is also about introducing the culture, lifestyle and history of the Kirati people to the world, familiarizing them with the community. The journey along the trail, which spreads through uphills and downhills, offers close-up views of more than 24 beautiful mountain ranges. That includes Nuptse, Everest, Lhotse, Makalu, Kanchenjunga and Kumbhakarna. They all delight every traveler. The Mundum trek starts from Dawa Bhanjang in Diktel, Sakaila Rural Municipality of Khotang and Bhojpur Bazar in Bhojpur. Most tourists start their journey on this trail from Chakhewa Bhanjang in Temki Moying Rural Municipality, Bhojpur. The trek starting from Chakhewa Bhanjang is a gift of biodiversity, culture and nature. The trail is also a tourist area listed among the 100 must-visit destinations selected by the government of Nepal. Temki Dada is an excellent tourist destination near the starting point of the Mundum Trail. It lies on the border of Bhojpur and Khotang. It is located at an altitude of about 3,032 meters above sea level and is a flat plateau on top of a single hill. The history of Temki Dada is also linked to Kirati civilization. Temki Dada is a habitat for various species of trees like jamb, rhododendron and chimal, as well as endangered wildlife such as red panda, ghorol and thar. Various places in Koshi province can be clearly seen from Temki Dada. From here, one can have a panoramic view of dozens of mountain ranges, including the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, Makalu, Kanchenjunga and Gauri Shankar. Apart from that, from Temki Dada, one can watch the sunrise and sunset. And when the weather is clear, one can even see the cities of Sikkim, Darjeeling, Kalimpong, Siliguri in India and cities in Bhutan. The Kirati people perform special worship on full moons of Baisakh. In this area, precious herbs, locally called Chiraito, Majito, Tulo Okhati, Pakhanbed, Nagbeli, Ban Karela, Muse Karela and Satua are found in abundance. Another major attraction of Temki Dada is the rhododendron. During blooming season, the forest in this area becomes vibrant red with fully bloomed flowers. After a hike and exploration of Temke Hill, surrounded by beautiful nature, one reaches Dhotre Deorali in about 6 hours. During the journey to Dhotre, trekkers enjoy nature's embrace, marvel at various rock formations, and relish the trek while connecting with the high hills. At Dhotre Deorali, there are arrangements for food and lodging for tourists. Leaving Dhotre and moving forward on the trek, various structures have been built targeting the culture and traditions of Kirati people to attract tourists. The Mundum Trail's construction began with a 35% investment from Koshi provincial government, 35% from Swiss government, and 30% from the local government. Along this entire trail, rest stops, drinking water taps, and stone platforms have been built for tourists. 15 ponds in the shape of a chindo, which is a traditional Rai vessel reflecting Kirat Rai culture, have also been constructed. This is a place where shamans have walked, a place of tantric power, and an extremely scenic area. Mundum is the name of a Kirat scripture. The trail is named after this sacred name. This trail, which integrates various aspects of Kirati civilization, culture, history, and life from Silichung to Mayung and then to Temke, and from Temke to Kualung and Tuachung, proceeds along the ridge of Mahabharat mountain range. Another special beauty of the Mundum Trail is Has Pokhari. Located at an altitude of 3,333 meters above sea level, Has Pokhari is a special destination that should not be missed during the trek. At the edge of Has Pokhari, a statue of Sumnima and Paruhang has been erected. According to Kirat Mundum, Sumnima and Paruhang are the creators of this universe. The gentle fragrance of various species of flowers blooming in the grassy meadows captivates every tourist visiting Has Pokhari. The rhododendrons that bloom in season in the Has Pokhari area make one feel like staying in the vicinity of the pond forever. During their journey to Has Pokhari, travelers can observe at least 16 species of rhododendrons that bloom during the spring season. Another important destination of the Mundum Trail is Mayung Dada. Located in Temke Mayung Rural Municipality of Bhojpur, Mayung Dada is a beautiful place with tourism potential. The journey to Mayung Dada, which is at an altitude of about 3,600 meters above sea level, takes place through the middle of a very smooth meadow. During this journey, any tourist with the melodious sound of music wishes to be immersed in the glory of beautiful nature, even if for a short while. The Mayung area is also a special observation point for horses. The attraction of horses roaming freely under the open sky is another unmissable feature of Mayung Dada. The Mayung area, which is connected to the neighboring district of Khotang, has a balanced climate, not as cold as the Himalayas nor as hot as the Tarai. The Mayung area is also a habitat for the globally endangered red panda. During the Mayung journey, adorned with biodiversity and nature, one can enjoy the rhododendrons that bloom vibrantly across the hillsides in the spring. One can sit on various mystical hills and move forward with the cool breeze, mountain views, and by cherishing the natural beauty in their heart and soul. The blooming chap, rhododendron and sunakhari flowers in the months of Falgun, Chaitra and Baisakh captivate the hearts of tourists. The ever-changing weather and the view of the mountain range right before the eyes can make one feel a heavenly bliss on earth when one steps on Mayung Dada. From Mayungdada, most of the hilly districts of eastern Nepal, as well as the high hill plains and villages of Nepal and India, look as if they are in the palm of one's hand, making one want to keep watching. When the crimson rays of early morning sun touch the mountains on the other side, the joy of kissing the heights is immeasurable. From Mayungdada, one can also view more than 24 beautiful Himalayan peaks. This includes Charbate, Mera Peak, Nuptse, Everest, Lhotse, Lhotse Sar, Makalu, Kanchenjunga and Kumbhakarna. Travelers say is less tiring and also does not give one altitude sickness. The trail located in the Mayung region is considered excellent, given the Laliguras trail of the TMJ region or the Tinjure, Milke, Jaljale area and the Kapta trail of the west. On the Mundum trek, after passing through Chakhewa Bhanjang, Mayungdada, Haspokhari, Satobato, Laure Bhir, Rawathap and Salpa Bhanjang, on the fourth day of the journey, one reaches the famous pilgrimage site Salpa Pokhari. Salpa Pokhari is situated at an altitude of 3,400 meters above sea level and is considered by the Kirati people as their ancestral place of origin. Kirati people hold a belief that one must visit Salpa Pokhari at least once in their lifetime. Hence, during Udholi and Ubholi full moons, many pilgrims visit Salpa Pokhari, a place filled with religious faith and natural beauty. Salpa Pokhari, known as the confluence of 4 districts, Khotang, Solukhumbu, Bhojpur and Sankhwa Sabha, is a place of natural beauty. Salpa Pokhari is located in Dobhani village of Salpa Silichung rural municipality in Bhojpur. It can be reached via the Mundum trail, passing through Dikdale in Khotang, Lal Kharka and Mayungdada. However, there are other routes to reach Salpa Pokhari as well. It is said that Tenzing Norgay Sherpa and Edmund Hillary used the route through Salpa Pokhari during their first ascent of Mount Everest. Salpa Pokhari is also a multi-religious center of faith, as apart from Kiratis, various ethnic groups, including Hindus and Buddhists, hold fairs at this place 4 times a year. There is a religious belief that people who are born unable to speak can start speaking after being dipped in the waters of this pond, and childless couples are blessed with children after visiting Salpa Pokhari. Silichung Dada with Salpa Pokhari as its base camp is an important destination for tourists trekking the Mundum Trail. Tourists who reach Salpa often make a return trip to the summit of Silichung Dada, which stands at an altitude of 4,100 meters. Specially considered a significant center of religious faith for the Kirati people, from the Silichung Peak one can easily view the Himalayan range as well as the flat plains of the Tarai. From Silichung, 6 Himalayan peaks including Everest, Makalu, Kanchenjunga, Kumbhakarna and Mera Peak can be seen right before one's eyes. The Salpa Silichung Peak, the highest point in the religiously and touristically significant district of Bhojpur, is established as the tallest among Temke Dada and Mayungdada. There is a popular belief that wishes are fulfilled after visiting and offering prayers at the peak of Silichung. Silichung Peak is located on the border of Bhojpur and Sankhwa Sabha districts. It is useful not only for anchoring one's religious faith, but also for savoring the unique blend of nature and culture. From the peak of Silichung, one can directly see Salpa Pokhari to the south and the villages of Solukhumbu, Sankhwa Sabha and Bhojpur. The valley and plains formed by the Arun River, which flows through Bhojpur and Sankhwa Sabha, can be easily viewed from this area. From Silichung, one can also enjoy panoramic views of the sunrise and sunset. At sunrise, a captivating view of mist in the Arun Valley can be seen from this spot. When the weather is clear, climbing Silichung Peak brings a feeling of heavenly bliss. the Silichung area is as naturally beautiful as it is culturally significant. In recent times, Kirat, Hindu and Buddhist followers have come to regard Silichung Peak as a common pilgrimage site. A large number of shamans gather here during the full moons of Bhadra, Kartik and Baisakh. Shamans in particular ascend Silichung to gain power and knowledge. The fragrance of the extremely aromatic bhairung, sunpati and other fragrant herbs and flowers found around Silichung makes the stay there even more pleasant. There is a Mundum myth that Kirati people gain power from this area, envisioning it as the place where the world was created, starting from the hearth, the main pillar, the main door, the eaves, the flower garden, the resting place, and the final water source, while praying to their ancestors for divine power. Upon reaching this point, the Mundum trek can be considered complete for the time being. The Mundum Trail is an excellent destination for tourists who want to get close to the Himalayas and enjoy their beauty. The hundreds of types of flowers and birds seen during the Mundum trek make the journey even more interesting. The path is completely covered with the national flower rhododendron in various colors. Being a confluence of nature, culture, and Kirati civilization, tourists get to taste a sweet flavor during the Mundum trek. People of all age groups can undertake this trek. On both sides of the trail, the language, religion, rituals, and culture, as well as the lifestyle of 10 different Kirati-speaking Rai groups are vibrant. This region contains descriptions of the Kirati people from their creation to their civilization, their migration, various activities and rituals and traditions from birth to death. During this journey, one can truly feel a spiritual connection with their ancestors and with those who have passed. Locals have added new dimensions of tourism to the Mundum Trail. Along with homestays, one can also experience goat stays, which is staying in a herder's shed during the Mundum trek. Local herders warmly welcome the trekkers. This trail of indigenous civilization has recently emerged in the tourism world as a top cultural destination. Therefore, developing the Mundum Trail, an exceptional confluence of nature and culture, into a model destination for recreation and study for both domestic and international visitors has become a pressing priority.
President Paudel presents policy and program, announces zero tolerance on corruption and wide-ranging economic reforms. Supreme Court issues interim order halting implementation of university student union dissolution and stays move on trade union scrapping. Government begins Cleanliness Week campaign to improve public service standards across offices nationwide. Iran demands end to regional war and release of frozen assets in response to U.S. proposal as Trump rejects offer as totally unacceptable. Beijing confirms U.S. President Donald Trump's China visit later this week, signals willingness for greater global stability. And countdown begins to 2026 FIFA World Cup amid backlash over soaring ticket prices and remaining seat availability. Hello there, I am April Singh Lama and this is NTV World News Hour. We're coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. The details now. Now, the government has unveiled its policy and program for fiscal year 2026-27, presenting an ambitious 100-point roadmap that envisions transforming the country into a regional tech hub while driving governance reform and infrastructure expansion. Addressing a joint session of Parliament, President Ramchandra Paudel said the government aims to place governance at the core of development with infrastructure as its backbone, integrating technology, social security and local production into a unified national strategy. A key highlight of the policy is the declaration of this year as a period for constitutional reform, with a discussion paper to be prepared in coordination with political parties to advance amendments through consensus. In infrastructure, the government prioritizes connectivity, including the continuation of the East-West Railway and progress on the Kathmandu-Raksol and Kathmandu-Kherung rail corridors. Major projects will be prioritized based on output and impact, with stricter contract enforcement for timely completion. Further on this in our Issue of the Day segment later in the bulletin. Now, the National Examination Board has published the results of this year's secondary education examination, commonly known as the SEE. According to the board, 65.98% of students have been graded this year, marking an improvement compared to last year's results. Education Secretary Chudamani Paudel said that last year 61.81% of students were graded, while the figure has increased to 65.98% this year. A total of 284,160 students have passed the examination this year, compared to 271,299 students last year. Meanwhile, 146,507 students have been listed as non-graded this year, down from 167,597 last year. The highest number of students, 94,222, secured GPAs between 2.80 and 3.60. Similarly, 48,392 students achieved GPAs ranging from 3.60 to 4.0, according to the National Examination Board. Now, moving on, the Supreme Court has issued an interim order restraining the immediate implementation of a decision to dissolve student organizations in universities. A single bench of Justice Srikant Paudel issued the order today, directing that the decision taken by the University Coordination Committee on March 20 should not be implemented until further notice. The court has also scheduled a hearing for 18th of May, asking both parties to present their arguments. It has directed the submission of written responses through the Office of the Attorney General within 15 days, along with the relevant documents and copies of the petition. The order follows a writ petition filed by the President of ANNFSU, Deepak Dhami, naming the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers at Singadarbar as respondents, challenging the decision to dissolve student unions. Meanwhile, in a separate development, the Supreme Court has also issued an interim order halting the proposed scrapping of trade unions for government employees, putting both decisions on hold pending further judicial review. The government has launched Cleanliness Week 2083 nationwide to improve public service delivery and promote cleaner, more organized and environmentally friendly government offices. The campaign, inaugurated at Bir Hospital, will run until 15th of May across all levels of government and public institutions. Officials say the initiative aims to standardize sanitation practices, improve official hygiene and ensure better services for both employees and citizens. More on this in our cover story later in the bulletin. Now, Iran's foreign ministry said Tehran has called for an end to the war across the region and the release of frozen assets abroad in its response to the latest U.S. proposal. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baqai in a weekly press briefing said Iran's demands include an end to the war in the region, ending the U.S. naval blockade, and the release of assets belonging to the Iranian people, which have for years been unjustly trapped in foreign banks.
تنها چیزی که مطالبه کردیم حقوق مشروع ایران بوده. من قضاوت رو به شما و مردممون واگذار میکنم که آیا مطالبه ایران برای خاتمه جنگ در منطقه، مطالبه ایران برای توقف راهزنی دریایی علیه کشتی‌های ایران، اونچه که تحت عنوان محاصره دریایی اسمش گذاشتند، مطالبه ایران برای آزاد شدن دارایی‌های متعلق به مردم ایران که سالهاست به ناحق به خاطر فشار آمریکا در بانک‌های خارجی محبوس شده، آیا اینها مطالبه زیاده‌خواهانه است؟ پیشنهاد ما برای این که در تنگه هرمز تردد ایمن صورت بگیره آیا مطالبه زیاده‌خواهانه است؟
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said he has rejected Iran's response to a U.S. proposal for ending the Middle East war, deeming it totally unacceptable. Beijing has confirmed that U.S. President Donald Trump will travel to China this week for high-level talks with President Xi Jinping in a visit seen as a crucial test of fragile U.S.-China relations. The three-day trip from May 13 to 15 will be the first by a U.S. president to China in nearly a decade and comes amid ongoing tensions over tariffs and trade policy. China's foreign ministry says it is ready to work with Washington to promote more stability globally. Spokesperson Guo Jiakun said Beijing is willing to engage with the United States based on equality, respect and mutual benefit to expand cooperation in an increasingly volatile world.
元首外交对中美关系具有不可替代的战略引领作用，中方愿同美方一道，秉持平等、尊重、互惠的精神，扩大合作，管控分歧，为变乱交织的世界注入更多的稳定性和确定性。
Executives from major American firms, including Boeing, Citigroup and Qualcomm, are expected to accompany the delegation as both sides explore potential business deals and efforts to stabilize ties. The visit follows a turbulent period marked by sweeping U.S. tariffs and a trade war that previously saw duties exceed 100% before a pause after last year's leaders' meeting in South Korea. Now, in other news, the one-month countdown has begun for the 23rd edition of the FIFA World Cup, set to be co-hosted for the first time by the United States, Canada and Mexico. The tournament kicks off on June 11 at Mexico City's Estadio Aztec, with a final scheduled for July 19 at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. A record 48 teams will compete across the nearly 6-week event. However, excitement is being tempered by growing criticism over sharply rising tickets, with some premium seats reportedly reaching tens of thousands of dollars. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has dismissed concerns, calling critical coverage negative press, even as secondary markets continue to show availability for several matches. From constitutional amendments to investment expansion and budget priorities, we bring you highlights, economic plans and political reactions on government-presented policy and program plan. When we come back, do stay with us. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Welcome back. President Ramchandra Paudel presented the government's policy and program for the upcoming fiscal year 2026-27, outlining a broad governance and economic reform agenda focused on corruption control, financial stability, and institutional restructuring. Addressing a joint session of the Federal Parliament, President Paudel said the government will adopt a policy of zero tolerance on corruption and move forward with reforms in coordination with political parties, including the preparation of a constitutional amendment discussion paper based on consensus. He also announced measures aimed at protecting savings through stronger loan recovery mechanisms and addressing exploitative lending practices, including the regulation of excessive interest rates and ending informal high-interest lending systems.
समस्याग्रस्त सहकारी संस्थामा रकम जम्मा गरेका बचतकर्ताको रकम फिर्ता गर्न एकीकृत बचतकर्ता सुरक्षण कोष स्थापना गरी कर्जा असुली मार्फत बचतकर्ताको रकम फिर्ता गरिनेछ। कर्जा सूचना प्रणालीलाई सुदृढ गरी अत्यधिक ऋण, मिटर ब्याज र आर्थिक अपराध नियन्त्रण गरिनेछ। व्यवसाय दर्तादेखि निर्माण अनुमतिसम्म 30 दिनभित्र सम्पन्न गर्ने लगानी एक्सप्रेस नीति लागू गरिनेछ। विदेशी लगानी सम्बन्धी कानुन संशोधन गरी स्वचालित मार्ग विस्तार गरिनेछ। नेपाल सरकारले तोके भन्दा माथिको लगानी गर्ने लगानीकर्तालाई नेपाल लगानी भिसा उपलब्ध गराइनेछ। नेपाललाई विश्व आध्यात्मिक पर्यटनको केन्द्रका रूपमा स्थापित गर्न देवभूमि नेपाल राष्ट्रिय अभियान सञ्चालन गरिनेछ। धार्मिक, सांस्कृतिक र आरोग्य अध्ययन, चलचित्र, आध्यात्मिक तथा अवकाश पर्यटनको उदाउँदो गन्तव्यका रूपमा विकास गरिनेछ। आध्यात्मिक तीर्थ कूटनीति मार्फत पशुपतिनाथ, लुम्बिनी, जनकपुर धाम र मुक्तिनाथ क्षेत्रको प्रवर्धन गरिनेछ।
Breaking decades of tradition, President Ramchandra Paudel presented the policy and program 2026-27 at a joint session of Federal Parliament significantly earlier than in previous years on the first day of the budget session. Reflecting the delivery-driven governance spirit through the fast-track procedure, the government has brought ambitious programs and policies for this fiscal year. Diksha Awasthi looks after some of the features of the document this government has brought forward.
The government's policy and program for 2026-27 was presented on the very first day of the budget session. Invoking Article 95 of the Constitution of Nepal, President Paudel has outlined a strategic direction for this fiscal year. By presenting this roadmap today, the government allows for a thorough deliberation that will complement the upcoming national budget on the 15th of Jesta, fallen on 29th May this year. The House of Representatives is set to deliberate on the dossier consecutively. The dossier clearly highlights the core philosophy of the majority government, establishing a new phase of economic reform driven by zero tolerance for corruption and a total revamping of public service delivery. The government has incorporated the amendment to the Constitution in the upcoming fiscal year and plans to prepare a discussion paper for the amendment process. The incumbent government had formed a task force under the coordination of Asim Shah, the political advisor to Prime Minister Balendra Shah, to prepare a discussion paper on the Constitution amendment. The task force is currently collecting suggestions from various political parties and professionals across different sectors. At the heart of this vision is a 7% average annual growth target driven by broad legal reforms. This growth is fueled by declaring the IT sector a national strategic industry, aiming to turn Nepal into a global tech hub by exporting AI and cloud services. Further, the government has announced its policy to develop the country's capital market into a secure, competitive, and internationally aligned financial system in fiscal year. According to the policies and programs, the government seeks to restructure securities regulations (NEPSE) and the clearing system and expand the participation of institutional investors, pensions funds, insurance companies, mutual funds, and non-resident Nepalis (NRNs) in the country's capital market. Furthermore, the policies and programs also highlight plans to promote long-term capital formation through the development of the debt market, bond market, infrastructure bonds, and the use of risk management instruments. Consequently, the period of 2026 to 2036 is now the decade of employment promotion, shifting the nation toward a high-value, knowledge-based economy. To support this transition, returning migrants will be entitled to a digital skill passport to certify expertise gained abroad for local reintegration. Simultaneously, the agricultural sector will see farmer-first initiatives fixing support prices before planting and depositing payments directly into bank accounts to end exploitation. Environmental goals are equally ambitious, moving toward net zero 2045 via green hydrogen and a unified green tax. Finally, the policy paper ensures that no citizen is left behind, promising safe housing solutions and balanced land use to provide permanent homes for landless people, squatters, and those currently residing in unsafe areas. Seemingly, the government has diligently incorporated the promises of its 100-point implementation roadmap into this fiscal year's strategic document. As the nation looks toward this delivery-driven future, now the nation waits to turn these ambitious promises into a daily reality for the Nepali people.
The government unveiled a sweeping economic reform roadmap for fiscal year 2026-27, presenting a 100-point agenda aimed at transforming the country's economy through digitalization, investment expansion, and long-term structural changes, targeting sustained growth over the next decade. Here's a closer look.
The government of Nepal has unveiled an ambitious economic reform roadmap under its policy and program for the fiscal year 2026-27, presenting a comprehensive 100-point agenda aimed at structural transformation across the economy and governance system. Presenting the framework in a joint session of Parliament, President Ramchandra Paudel outlined a long-term vision targeting an average 7% real economic growth over the next decade, anchored in a new phase of economic reforms focused on productivity, investment, and institutional efficiency. At the core of the plan is a shift toward a fully digital and transparent economy. The government has announced all financial transactions will be integrated into digital platforms, gradually expanding a nationwide cashless system. Alongside this, tax administration will be modernized to curb revenue leakage, automate VAT refunds, and ease the burden on taxpayers through simplified structures and voluntary compliance measures. To strengthen fiscal discipline, the policy also introduces measures such as mandatory valuation lists to address under-invoicing, consolidation of scattered taxes and fees, and a zero-delay procurement system designed to improve efficiency in public spending. In investment and industry, the IT sector has been declared a national strategic industry, with plans to develop data centers, digital parks, and expand remote work and digital nomad opportunities. A Nepal investment visa will be introduced to attract high-value foreign investors, while capital market participation is expected to widen through non-resident Nepalese and pension funds. The energy sector also features prominently, with an ambitious target of producing 30,000 megawatts of hydropower within a decade. The policy introduces a shift in compensation models for affected communities, moving from cash payments toward equity-based participation in projects. On employment, the government aims to reshape labor dynamics through digital transformation, promoting remote work frameworks and legal reforms that gradually reduce reliance on remittance-driven income by enabling international work from within Nepal. In tourism and infrastructure, the policy prioritizes full operation of Gautam Buddha and Pokhara international airports. Likewise, It includes expansion of online visa systems and preparations for Visit Nepal 2085 campaign with a strong focus on religious and adventure tourism. Additional initiatives including green market villages, IT parks, and guaranteed minimum support prices for agricultural production are designed to stimulate domestic production and job creation, rounding out what the government describes as a broad-based economic transformation agenda.
Lawmakers from both the ruling and opposition parties have offered mixed reactions to the government's policy and program presented in the parliament. Opposition leaders say the policy does not indicate a clear direction for change, describing it largely as a continuation of past plans. They noted that despite the government holding a strong two-thirds majority, expectations were high for a more transformative and forward-looking agenda. They also suggested that the shortcomings seen in the policy should be addressed in the upcoming budget to better reflect public expectations. Meanwhile, leaders from the ruling side have defended the policy and program, saying it is relevant and aligned with the country's current priorities and development needs. Now, the second meeting of the House of Representatives held today itself passed a vote of thanks to President Ramchandra Paudel for presenting the government's policy and program at the joint session of the Parliament. Speaker Dol Prasad Aryal announced that the motion of thanks proposed by Prime Minister Balin Shah was unanimously approved by the House. It is a parliamentary tradition to express gratitude to the President after he presents the government's policy and program in a joint sitting of Parliament. The Speaker informed the House that discussions and responses on the government's annual policy and program will be completed in a single day. He further said that the policy and program will be debated on a party-wise basis on 13th of May and the Prime Minister will respond on the same day. Speaker Aryal also requested lawmakers who wish to speak on the policy and program to submit their names to the Federal Parliament Secretariat 1 hour before the House meeting on May 13th based on their party representation. He added that the time for submitting amendments to the policy and program has been set from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow. Meanwhile, CPN-UML lawmaker Guru Baral drew the attention of the House, stating that Prime Minister Shah had left the chamber while the government's policy and program was being presented in the joint session of the Parliament. The Cabinet has approved the government's policy and program for the upcoming fiscal year. The decision was taken in today's Council of Ministers meeting ahead of its presentation in a joint session of Parliament. President Ramchandra Paudel presented the policy and program under Article 95 of the Constitution. Government spokesperson and Minister for Education, Science and Technology confirmed the approval, saying the address has been formally endorsed by the Cabinet.
आज नेपालको संविधानको धारा 95 मा बमोजिम सम्माननीय राष्ट्रपतिबाट सम्बद्ध 2083 साल वैशाख 28 गते आज 4 बजे संघीय संसदको दुवै सदनको संयुक्त बैठकलाई गर्नुहुने सम्बोधन स्वीकृत गर्ने मात्र निर्णय आज भएको छ.
The new session of both houses of the Federal Parliament also begins today. Now, in today's public opinion segment, we asked members of the public their view on the government's policy and program presented in the joint session of Parliament. Here's what they had to say.
यो आकर्षक रूपमा प्रस्तुत गरिएको छ. यसले चाहिँ धेरै कुराहरू समेट्ने प्रयास गरेको छ. नागरिकको समस्याहरूलाई पनि सम्बोधन गर्ने प्रयास गरेको छ भने यथार्थमा यसलाई उदाहरण गर्नको लागि चाहिँ केही समस्याहरू पनि देखिन्छ र सरकारले राम्रोसँग सोच गरेर राम्रोसँग यसलाई चाहिँ उतार गर्न सक्यो, यो कार्यक्रमलाई चाहिँ राम्रोसँगले एउटा प्रयोगमा ल्याउन सक्यो भने अवश्य पनि नेपालीहरूको हितमा हुनेछ.
विद्युतको अहिले हामीका विद्युत धेरै छन् र त्यसका लागि त्यो मुआवजा पनि नदिने र त्यसका लागि शेयर दिने त्यो पनि एउटा राम्रो पक्ष हो. त्यसमा लगानीकर्ता अलि प्रोत्साहित हुन्छन्, एउटा राम्रो पक्ष लाग्यो. अनि नीति र कार्यक्रमहरू त सदैव राम्रो नै आउँछ, तर त्यो बजेटमा कसरी समावेश गर्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ एउटा च्यालेन्ज हुन्छ. त्यसलाई पनि सही तरिकाले निकाल्नु पर्यो. यो कुरोहरू राम्रै आएको छ.
नीति तथा कार्यक्रम त हरेक वर्ष यस्तै किसिमको कार्यक्रम आउँछ, जहिले पनि मन लोभाउने कार्यक्रमहरू हुन्छ, तर त्यो कार्यक्रमले मात्रै कुनै त्यसको खास असर आउँदैन. अब यो कार्यक्रम र बजेट जुन छ त्यसमा समन्वय हुनु पर्यो, बजेटमा प्रतिबिम्बित हुनु पर्यो, अनि मात्रै नीति कार्यक्रमको खेती देखिन्छ। तर यो कार्यक्रममा फेरि एउटा यो धार्मिक पर्यटनको बारेमा सरकार अलिक मौन रहेको जस्तो देखियो।
खालि एउटा परिवर्तनको नारा मात्रै रहेछ। अहिले परम्परादेखि बाहेक एक शब्द एउटा कुनै पोइन्ट बिन्दु त्यस्तो आएको छैन कि जनताले अलिकति के गर्न खोजेको छ कि यो सरकार भन्ने किसिमको कहीँ अनुभूति हुने किसिमको कुनै कुराहरू देखिएन यसमा।
राष्ट्रपतिबाट आएको यो नीति तथा कार्यक्रमहरू सुन्नमा सबै कुराहरू राम्रै छ। अब कार्यान्वयन पक्षमा आएको नयाँ सरकारले यसलाई कसरी अगाडि बढाउँछ, कसरी कार्यान्वयनमा एकदम राम्रै तरिकाले अगाडि बढाउने हो, गर्ने हो र समयमै गर्नुहुन्छ भन्ने हामी आशावादी छौँ।
अहिलेको अलि जल्दोबल्दो विषयवस्तुलाई नै अलि समेटेर ल्याउन खोजेको छ। खास गरी अब आम जनताको चाहना र सोच पनि र यो अहिलेको सरकारको पनि पहिलाको कुराहरू हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ खास सुशासन होइन, पारदर्शिता नै बढी अपेक्षित हो।
अहिले यो सहकारीका रिफन्डिङ कोर्स लिएर आएर जुन एउटा चाहिँ फिर्ता दिने एउटा ल्याएको छ र त्यो फर्ममा जुन जम्मा 25 करोड मात्रै विनियोजन गरेको छ, यसले चाहिँ पक्कै पनि पुग्दैन।
अहिले यो विषम परिस्थितिमा उद्योग व्यवसायहरूको करको जटिलताद्वारा एकदमै धेरै नै तनावमा छन् व्यवसायहरू। कसरी सरकारले उद्यमशीलतातर्फ जोड दिउँ, स्वदेशी उत्पादन गरौँ पनि भनिरहेको छ, तर पनि अब यो करको दायरालाई अलिकति पुनरावलोकन गर्ने भन्दै गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब निम्नवर्गीय महिला स्टार्टअप गर्नेहरूको लागि केही हदसम्म भए पनि यो करको चाहिँ नि अलिकति जुन किसिमको दबाब थियो यसलाई केही घट्ने छ कि भन्ने अपेक्षा गरिएको छ।
विगतको भन्दा यो नयाँपन, नयाँ एजेन्डाहरू, नयाँ शैलीले आएको मैले देखेँ। नेपाललाई टुरिज्म हबको रूपमा अगाडि बढाउने, किसानहरूको लागि होइन, अब यो बोर्डरमा चाहिँ एउटा प्रयोगशाला राख्ने कुरा पनि नयाँ आयो।
Now, in more from the House business today, the House of Representatives today received the draft of the parliamentary regulations during a session of Nepal's federal parliament. The report was presented by Ganesh Parajuli, coordinator of the 15-member drafting committee formed on 6th of April to prepare the proposed regulations framework for the lower house. During the meeting, lawmakers were also informed about changes in ministerial responsibilities through a notice issued by the Office of the President. Meanwhile, the House also approved the removal of procedural obstructions under Rule 260 of the House of Representatives Regulations 2079. 8 different ordinances have been presented in today's meeting of the National Assemblies and House of Representatives, which had earlier been brought by the incumbent government. Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Sobita Gautam, on the behalf of Prime Minister Balan Shah. Meanwhile, in today's meeting of the House of Representatives, the leaders of the opposition parties have called the government's attention to the management of landless squatters' settlements and other relevant issues, including ordinances. During the meeting, the leaders voiced their concerns regarding the ordinance, which was introduced while Parliament was suspended, thus violating established practices and traditions based on the recommendation of the future Chief Justice. Lawmakers expressed their dissent against the government's decision to evict the landless residents from their settlements without providing alternative arrangements, while also sharing the differing views on the drafting of the new rules for the House of Representatives. Now, they also criticized the government for its silence when India established a checkpoint in Lipulekh and extended the route to Mansarovar. Leaders of political parties represented in Nepal's National Assembly have urged the government to ensure policies and decisions remain within the framework of the Constitution and existing laws while addressing public expectations. During today's session, lawmakers called for immediate control of inflation and a reversal of recent fuel price hikes, along with the announcement of a relief package for citizens. Parliamentary leaders also expressed mixed views on governance and legislative practices. Kamala Panta said her party supports positive government steps, but stressed that no one is above the constitution and law. Chakku Prasad Subedi urged the government to reflect public aspirations in the upcoming policy and budget. Meanwhile, Prem Prasad Dangal warned that excessive use of ordinances could weaken parliamentary dignity. Other leaders, including Mahanta Thakur and Tul Prasad Biswakarma, raised concerns over constitutional issues, landless settlement management, and recent government decisions. A nationwide cleanliness drive got underway today, aiming at transforming how government offices function, making public services spaces cleaner and more public-friendly across the country. We will be back with our cover story after this break. You're watching NTV World News Hour. Time for the cover story. The government has launched a nationwide Cleanliness Week 2083 campaign aimed at improving public service delivery through cleaner, more organized and environmentally friendly government offices. The initiative will continue until 15th of May across federal, provincial and local government institutions, including public educational facilities. Here's a report.
For many citizens in Nepal, visiting a government office often means navigating crowded hallways, unmanaged waste, unclear information desks, and limited public facilities. Now, the government says it wants to change that. A nationwide Cleanliness Week 2083 campaign has officially begun, with authorities promising cleaner, more organized and environmentally friendly public institutions across the country. At Nepal's oldest hospital, Bir Hospital, brooms, waste bins and cleaning supplies marked the beginning of what the government calls a nationwide effort to improve the culture of public service. The campaign, titled Cleanliness Week 2083, officially began today and will continue until 15th May across government institutions throughout the country. Authorities say the initiative comes after long-standing concerns over poor sanitation standards and unmanaged waste inside public offices, conditions that have affected both service delivery and public health.
हरेक ठाउँमा सरसफाई चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ दिनचर्यामा लगेर जानुपर्छ भनेर त्यो सोचले हामी चाहिँ हस्पिटल किनकि वीर हस्पिटल हाम्रो सबभन्दा पुरानो हस्पिटल हो त्यो सोचेर हामीले हस्पिटलबाटै सुरुवात गरौँ न किन कार्यालयबाट गर्ने हस्पिटलबाट सुरुवात गरौँ भनेर हामी त्यो सोचेर
Under a new government directive, federal ministers, provincial offices, local governments and even public educational institutions are now expected to follow common cleanliness and waste management standards. Government officers are now being instructed to maintain clear information boards, organized citizen charters, repaired infrastructure and cleaner service areas. Public toilets are also expected to become more accessible with women-friendly sanitation facilities, sanitary disposal systems, and disability-friendly access wherever possible. Each office will also be required to separate biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste using at least 2 dustbins. And to ensure the campaign continues beyond a single week, every institution must appoint a dedicated cleanliness focal person. For many Nepalis, the success of the campaign may ultimately depend not on announcements, but on whether visible changes continue after the week-long drive ends. Still, officials say the initiative is intended as a long-term effort to improve public health, accountability, and the everyday experience of citizens seeking government services.
That was our cover story. Now the rest of the updates. Discussions have been held between Constitutional Amendment Task Force, political leaders and experts on issues related to federalism and provincial structure. At an event organized by the Federalism and Localization Center, members of the government-appointed task force engaged in an interactive dialogue with party representatives and constitutional experts. Task force member Ann Mohanlal Acharya said the draft amendment will be prepared after open consultations at all levels, suggesting possible changes to provincial structures, ministries and the electoral system. Leaders from major parties including the Nepali Congress, CPN-UML and CPN Maoist Center, along with provincial representatives, stressed the need for national consensus while debating the scope and direction of constitutional reform. Nearly 2 million people are projected to be affected by this year's monsoon in Nepal, according to a draft report on monsoon preparedness and response released today by the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority. Although rainfall is expected to be below average, authorities warn that rising temperatures and extreme weather events could significantly increase the risk of monsoon-related disasters. The draft highlights risks of glacial lake outburst floods in high Himalayan regions, while floods, landslides, inundation and flash floods are likely in the Tarai and lower areas. Heat wave conditions may further impact southern regions. The report estimates nearly 457,000 households could be affected nationwide and has urged strengthened early warning systems, preparedness and rescue mechanisms across vulnerable provinces. Moving on, the government has launched a nationwide special campaign starting today aimed at controlling market irregularities, artificial price inflation and consumer fraud. The initiative, jointly led by the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers and the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Supplies, will run as Price Transparency Week, according to the Prime Minister's Secretariat. Authorities say the campaign is designed to address rising cost of living concerns affecting daily consumers. All stakeholders, civil society groups and media have been urged to support the drive and help monitor market abuses. Under the campaign, local levels will require businesses to display official price lists, while regular inspections will be conducted. Central and provincial monitoring teams will also assess markets, deploy inspection units and take legal action against violators until the campaign concludes on 17th of May. Now, an electric ropeway built over the Tirshuli River adjoining villages of Gorkha and Dhading districts in central Nepal to the Prithvi Highway has gone defunct for years. This has forced the locals to manually carry the vegetables and other agro-products to the markets, leading them to spend hours for a task that would otherwise take just a few minutes. Bijeta Bhandari, along with Dhading's correspondent Siva Silwal, brings more in our next report.
What happens when a journey that once took just 5 minutes suddenly takes nearly 3 hours? Unfortunately, this is the current reality of the locals of Gandaki rural municipalities, Hiklung, Thumka and Riplang villages that lie along the Gorkha-Dhading's border. A 620-meter-long electric ropeway was built over the local Trishuli River, which was built specifically to help the farmers in the region to supply their products. However, as the electric ropeway went out of operation within few days of its commencement, locals are once again forced to carry vegetables and daily essentials on their backs across steep trails. This has left locals disappointed, as ropeways serve as an important means of transporting goods and connecting remote communities to major highways and markets in Nepal, where roads and bridges are often limited owing to its mountainous terrain.
अहिलेको राम्रो थियो अब भर्खर सुरुमा अब के भयो त्यो दबाउने थिच्ने कुरा के बिग्रेछ हो अब त्यो अब मिस्त्रीहरु आइपुग्नु भएको छैन आइदा हेर विचार गर्दिनु भएको छैन अब राम्रै खरा त तार्नु पाएको छैन के अनि यस्तो यो थामको यस्तो उसमा यस्तोमा त स्वतः जाने रहेछ नि त अहिलेको त त्यो लुत्किने भन्ने डर रहेछ नि त अहिलेको त फेरि एकदम गाह्रो नि
The electric ropeway was constructed after the old gravity ropeway connecting the villages to the Prithvi highway became dilapidated and unusable. But the ropeway remains shut since the past 5 years, leaving farmers struggling to transport agricultural produce to the market. With the ropeway out of service, locals say their woes have been added as the local roads connecting to the major roads and highways are also in dilapidated condition.
बोकेर झार्नु पर्छ त्यो घुराहरुलाई फकाइ फकाइ ल्याउनै बोक्नु पर्यो भन्दै ल्याउनु पर्यो यहाँ भए त तार्नलाई सजिलो हुन्थ्यो खै सजिलो भएको छैन हामीलाई बोक्नै परेछ
Farmers lament that the transportation difficulties are affecting their income and daily lives as well, while demanding the restoration of the electric bridges operation.
International news coming up next, but for now, a quick recap of the headlines. President Paudel presents policy and program, announces zero tolerance on corruption and wide-ranging economic reforms. Supreme Court issues interim order halting implementation of university student union dissolution and stays move on trade union scrapping. Government begins a Cleanliness Week campaign to improve public service standards across offices nationwide. Iran demands end to regional war and release of frozen assets in response to US proposal as Trump rejects offer as totally unacceptable. Beijing confirms US President Donald Trump's China visit later this week, signals willingness for greater global stability. And countdown begins to 2026 FIFA World Cup amid backlash over soaring ticket prices and remaining seat availability. Health authorities say an American and a French national who returned home after leaving the cruise ship MV Hondius have tested positive for hantavirus following a deadly outbreak on board. The vessel, currently docked in Spain's Canary Islands, has been linked to 3 deaths, including a Dutch couple and a German woman. French Health Minister Stéphanie Rist confirmed that a female patient in Paris is isolating as her condition worsens, with 22 contacts traced. More than 90 passengers are being repatriated as investigations continue into the source of the infection, with the World Health Organization suggesting possible exposure in South America. Former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been released early from prison, sparking speculation over a possible return to the political spotlight. The 76-year-old telecom billionaire had been serving a 1-year sentence for corruption since September and will now undergo a 4-month probation period with an electronic monitoring device. Thaksin also faces other pending legal cases which could limit his public activity. His return comes as his family's political influence has weakened following a poor election result for the Pheu Thai party, raising questions about the future of one of Thailand's most influential political dynasties. Those were the international updates, business and sports when we come back.
Nepal Rashtra Bank NRB has submitted a full-term budget review report of the budget for the upcoming fiscal year 2026-27 to the government. Governor Vishwanath Paudel handed over the document to Finance Minister Swarnim Wagle on Monday as part of the central bank's statutory responsibility under the Nepal Rashtra Bank Act 2058 BS. This is to support the formulation of the national budget. The report comes as economies worldwide grapple with slowing trade growth, geopolitical tensions, volatile energy prices, and tighter global financial conditions. For Nepal, which relies heavily on remittances, imports, and tourism, global economic trends remain a key factor shaping fiscal and monetary policy decisions. Oil prices have risen after President Donald Trump said Iran's response to U.S. proposals to end the war was totally unacceptable. Tehran sent its response via Pakistan, which has served as a mediator between the two sides, calling for an immediate end to the conflict and guarantees of no further U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran. International oil benchmark Brent rose by 4.1% to $105.50 US a barrel in Asian trade before falling slightly. An innovative climate risk insurance scheme is helping informal workers in India protect their incomes as extreme heat increasingly disrupts economic activity across the country. Under the new insurance program, payouts are automatically made when temperatures hit a threshold, allowing workers to suspend outdoor activities without jeopardizing their finances. The scheme reflects a growing business response to climate-related economic risks, particularly in sectors dependent on informal labor and outdoor work. The initiative comes as rising temperatures and prolonged heat waves create mounting challenges for businesses, insurers, and policymakers in India. Extreme heat has increasingly affected productivity, supply chains, and workforce availability, prompting financial institutions and insurance providers to develop climate adaptation products aimed at vulnerable workers and small businesses. The scheme is seen as an emerging growth area for insurers seeking to expand coverage in climate-sensitive markets across Asia.
Time now for Sports Update. Nepal A has registered a thrilling 7-run win over the United States in a closely contested one-day match at Mulpani Cricket Ground in Kathmandu. Batting first after losing the toss, Nepal A posted 264 all out in 49.5 overs, powered by a century from Sandeep Johra, who scored 111 off 115 balls. Basir Ahmad added a steady 38 to support the innings. In reply, the United States fell short, managing 257 all out in 49.1 overs, despite 71 from Shehan Jayasurya. Nepal A's bowlers held their nerve in the final overs, with Sher Molla taking 4 for 30 and Bashir Ahmad picking up 3 wickets to seal the win. Now the weather details, first from Nepal and then across the world. And before we wrap up, here's a reminder of our top stories. President Paudel presents policy and program, announces zero tolerance on corruption and wide-ranging economic reforms. Supreme Court issues interim order halting implementation of University Student Union dissolution and stays move on trade union scrapping. Government begins Cleanliness Week campaign to improve public service standards across offices nationwide. Iran demands end to regional war and release of frozen assets in response to U.S. proposal as Trump rejects offer as totally unacceptable. Beijing confirms U.S. President Donald Trump's China visit later this week, signals willingness for greater global stability. And countdown begins to 2026 FIFA World Cup amid backlash over soaring ticket prices and remaining seat availability. That is all for the moment. Do join us through our social media and visit us at www.nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I am Ipulagi Singh Lama. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.